Coming up now is another sparkling Two Mikes podcast. You can have a relationship with a horse, so she really loves. No, not like that, you idiot.
Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, you're listening to the Two Mikes on Talk Sport. What a massive weekend of sporting action we got coming up for you on this show. A huge football programme, the Six Nations and even the Super Bowl in Houston. Porky isn't going to know where to start, but because he's been to Texas loads of times, we're giving him a quiz on the Lone Star State. I'm predicting 1 out of 10. There's also a special edition of Postman Pork as well, so listen out if you sent anything to him recently through the mail. 08717 223344. Also coming up on the show, we're talking to Tim Vickery in Brazil, and we're going live to Houston to catch up with Ollie Hunter and Will Gavin. You're listening to the Two Mikes with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. It is the last show of the week, apart from the one we're going to do on Saturday, of course, on the warm-up. It's time to say very, very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, a Parry. Very good morning to Mr. Parry.
And a very good morning to you, Mike. And I just want to point out, before we talk about all the issues which need talking about,
yes,
what a public service we, or should I say me, have provided to our millions over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
What do you mean?
Well, there is now a world shortage of vegetables, isn't there?
Well, you've caused it, in fact.
I haven't caused it.
Yeah, you have.
No, I spotted it and I alerted people to it.
Funnily enough, the one thing that you said there would be a shortage of,
yes,
there isn't a shortage of.
And
the
what's
one
that?
Green vegetable, which everybody can now buy by the ton,
and what's that?
Are courgettes.
Courgettes?
You said courgettes were going to be the one thing that people were not going to be able to get their hands on.
But that's because I alerted the world to the courgette shortage
Rubbish.
First off.
This is all a scam. As I've
diverted.
said to you many times, it's all a scam by the producers of these vegetables and by the supermarkets to charge a load of money so that people will have to pay more through the nose to get their $5 a day.
Have you not seen the pictures which have been bouncing around on social media channels today of empty shelves all over the place?
Yeah, of course.
Well, who warned the world it was going to happen?
Oh, yeah, but
who warns the world about shortages?
You are something of an ingenue when it comes to the ways of the world.
Ingenue?
You are, yes.
Oh, really?
Slightly inexperienced.
What are you, a gnu?
A gnu, no, that's an animal for Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
But basically what is happening here is that people have worked out that if you tell people something's running out, they'll start buying loads of it. And as you keep putting the price up and they keep buying more of it, then they can tell you there's a shortage. And then they will charge you about 5 times what they used to charge you. And everybody's going to make an absolute bucket load of money. And idiots who walk around thinking that there's nothing there to buy will go, oh, no, there's a shortage of spinach.
Yeah, that's right.
So what?
Well, there's a shortage. And, I'm delighted.
It's a manufactured shortage, I promise you.
I take pride in the fact that I've received, I would say dozens, maybe running into scores, certainly into, or maybe even certainly into scores, maybe even to hundreds of congratulatory notes today saying thank you for alerting us to this dire situation. I would think so.
The fact is, in this day and age, there is no need to be so reliant on the Spanish supply of vegetables, right?
Well,
I saw a news report the other day of some hydroponic growing of vegetables going on underneath Clapham High Street.
Oh, really?
Which is precisely what they should be doing.
Really?
Yeah, you don't even need soil anymore.
What does hydroponic mean?
Hydroponic means it's suspended, basically. You don't need soil to grow the stuff in.
Well,
it tastes exactly the same.
I think I'd eat anything grown in
Clapham High Street. You don't eat vegetables anyway. What do you care? I mean, the only vegetables you eat come out of a tin.
Rubbish.
I mean, you'll be happy because you can buy all your vegetables in a tin still. There's no shortage of them.
I had a huge bag of spinach yesterday.
Bag of spinach?
Yeah, mustard
Where'd you get it from?
Spinach. Eh?
Mustard flavoured spinach?
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't be right.
Well, it's got this mustard tang to it. That's what I mean.
That's not spinach.
No, it says tangy mustard. Spinach.
You bought Rocket or something.
No, it's spinach. Also.
No, I don't think so.
And I got it from my new favourite supermarket.
Oh yeah, Morrison's.
No. But by the way, wasn't that a great story about Ken Morrison?
Well, we talked about that yesterday.
I know. But I read his obituaries today. He wouldn't spend money to have his offices decorated for 35 years.
Yeah, why not?
Didn't want to spend money on paint.
He sounded a bit of a miserable guy, to be honest.
Listen, talking about...
So what's your favourite supermarket now, then?
Well, I don't want to name it because it'll give it a huge commercial advantage if they know the Porkmeister's shop in there.
No, I very much doubt it.
So, anyway,
there might be a run on tinned fish.
Now, look, there's one thing I wanted to ask you.
Is there?
Talking about food, of course, right? And I see that you had a nice cottage pie today, yes?
Shepherd's pie,
very
actually,
nice. Shepherd's pie.
Very good
nice.
it was, too, yeah.
It looked nice, yes.
It was.
Now, what sort of meat did you put in it?
I put lamb in it, because the shepherd's pie would always have lamb.
Was that ground lamb?
Minced lamb, yes.
And where'd you get that from?
Where did I get it from? Ocado, actually, which is obviously the delivery section of Waitrose.
Yes, right, okay, yeah. Right, now then, I've had new teeth put in.
Yeah, three.
Three?
Yeah,
one on either side on the lower deck.
Yes.
And, one on the left side on the upper deck.
Now, you did regale us with it for weeks and weeks and weeks. You then managed to put a picture out of yourself getting operated on.
That's right, yeah.
So
now my dental surgeon.
What's his name?
I don't want to reveal.
Why not?
Well,
we know who Dr. Banner is.
He'll get inundated with people who want to their Nash's done. Now, what I'm going to say is, he said, reintroduce yourself gently into eating with a mouthful of teeth. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
well, that was weeks ago.
Yes, I know, but now I've hit a problem. Now, do you know? And this is a serious question. You know how you're either right-handed or left-handed when it comes to writing?
Yes. Although some people are ambidextrous.
Yes, they are, I agree. Or picking up a knife and fork. But most people are distinctly either right-handed or left-handed,
True.
OK?
Yes.
Are we right-mouthed or left-mouthed when we eat?
Well, I mean, that's a very good question, one which I cannot answer. It's one you should have asked the dentist, in fact.
But you see... This
he will probably tell you that there are parts of the sides of your mouth that wear down quicker than others.
This is what I'm thinking. Now, particularly when I'm eating oranges, I tend always to put an orange in my mouth and it gravitates to the right side of my mouth.
Does it?
So I'm thinking the new...
Do you put it in with your right hand?
Yes, I do, yes.
So normally speaking, you'd expect it to go to the left side because of the way your hand moves.
Well, all I'm saying is that, of course, there is acidity in oranges.
There is.
And I'm thinking...
And sugar.
And sugar, of course. And I'm thinking my right tooth is getting...
Your right tooth?
My right new tooth. My right new tooth, is getting a load of this now because I prefer to start masticating my orange on the right side of my mouth.
Okay. And do you move it around or not?
Well, I start then thinking, right, another second of orange is going the left side of my mouth because I want to balance up the acidity factor within my...
Why don't you just put one in each cheek?
Within my
oral
cavity. Now, I'm not too sure why I'm worrying because...
I don't think you should worry.
Well, my new teeth are made of porcelain anyway.
Yeah, so if all the others fall out, those will be the only ones left.
They will be the only ones left, and they're bolted onto metal screws, which are sunk into...
Like the guy from Jaws, into James Bond film.
Into your gum. Yeah, that's very much like that. And they're unbreakable, actually. They're very, very good. I might have all the rest done soon.
Right.
But it just did occur to me...
Well, it's a very interesting question.
Are people right-mouthed or left-mouthed?
I would suggest that it depends on the state of their teeth in some ways.
Yes.
Because sometimes if you have, say, for example, some pain on one side of your mouth, you're going to eat with the other side. If one of your teeth has come out on one side, you might eat with the other side. But as far as from the beginning, when your teeth are pristine, I don't know whether you eat with one side. But you probably do, because if you're right-handed or left-handed, you tend to err on one side or the other, don't you?
I agree. I totally agree.
It's like the way people, dress as well, which I don't particularly
agree.
want to get into because it's a family show.
It's
but people ask you whether, when you go to your tailor to get your suit made for your trip to Santorini,
that's right.
You will be asked, do you dress left or right, sir?
Oh, right, okay.
What will you say?
Right.
Right.
Yes.
That's quite unusual for a right-hander.
Yeah, well, that's who I am.
Yeah.
Now, we can't get to the start of the first bit of the show without a reference to Frank Lampard.
Why?
Because
we said we weren't talking about Frank Lampard.
Well, all I wanted to say was this, right? I think Frank Lampard was a professional above professionals, and an immense credit.
Say Lank Frampard there for a minute.
No, an immense credit to professional football, and the reason why I think he's one of the best ever, because I heard obviously Jason and Andy talking about it earlier, is for the longevity thing. He never got injured. He played week after week, season after season.
Yeah.
He was incredibly consistent, and I think it's that.
So you're not going to give him a Peter Crouch style attack then?
Oh, no way at all. I think he's the best of the best. But I was just going to tell a little story about him because when he was about 18 or 19, I went down to the West Ham training ground, which is, what's it called? It's not Bollywall.
I think you've told this story before, haven't you?
No, I don't think I have.
I'm pretty sure you have. Sounds familiar.
What do you think's going to happen?
I can't remember.
Right, so we went down there, and do you know why I went down there?
I don't know.
I went down there to interview my very good friend Ian Wright.
Oh, yeah.
Because Wrighty, his career was coming to its conclusion, and he'd gone to West Ham, and he's doing a marvellous job there, because he did a marvellous job everywhere else, So I'm talking to Wrighty, and we walked through...
Are you sure he's a good friend of yours?
Who?
Ian Wright.
Oh, he's a great friend of mine.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a top man.
We saw him, actually, didn't we?
Saw him recently at a cocktail party, didn't we, just before Christmas?
Yeah.
But, no, Wrighty and I did quite a few jobs together.
Really?
But anyway, went down to talk to him, and he walked me through their indoor... pitch, right?
Yes.
It's a completely enclosed pitch, obviously,
right.
for
is
indoor
it sort
training.
of 3G scenario? Was it grass?
I think it was a 3G. I don't think it was grass. I think so, yeah. But,
You're not sure?
Well, this was like 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It was just at the start of Talk
grass,
Sport.
then.
It was right at the start of Talk Sport. So
probably grass.
Anyway, there's only one person left in there, and it's sort of 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's Frank Lampard, who was sprinting up and down doing shuttles, i.e., he had traffic cones all over the place, and he was running to 1, then he was running to 2, then he was running to 3, running to 4, you know. And really wearing himself out. And Wrighty commented on the fact that, that guy, he never gives up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, we go back to where I was talking to Wrighty, and all of a sudden, Frank comes rushing through, knocks a chair and table over, dashes outside, jumps into his car, and I remember what it was. It was It was one of those Jaguars that tried to replace the E-Type. It was called the XK8.
Oh, yeah.
With a long bonnet in the front,
that, yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And he jumps in and rum, 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 and he backs up and he goes, and he's away, you know, gone like that, just like that, you know. And and I said, what was all that about? He said,
time.
I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, this is a great story.
Yeah, go on.
Anyway,
You've
minutes...
definitely told me this before.
No, I haven't. 5 minutes later, he comes back, okay? And he gets out the car, and anyway, he came through, and he stopped me. He said, hi, Frank. Yeah. I said, what was all that about then? You had an important mission or something? He said, he said, you know all those old people who were around earlier? I said, yeah, I saw them. I said, what were those? Oh, they said from some local charity or something. They're just having a tour of the centre. He said, one of the ladies left her Mac. And I knew they were going to get the train at so-and-so, and what time the train was. So he picked up the Mac, he got in his car, and he dashed off, and he caught the lady just before she got on the train at the local railway station.
What a very fine thing to do.
I mean, for a young lad to do that, because that's all he was then. I think he was 19 at the time, 19
very well
or 20.
brought up.
And he just decided that the lady who'd come there for a visit to the training ground wasn't going to go home without a coat. And
No.
I thought it said a lot about the boy.
Well, certainly everybody who seems to have known him speaks very highly of him.
I thought to myself then, this boy will go far.
Really?
And I was right.
You were right, yeah. Very very rare occurrence, that.
What?
Because you weren't right about the spinach, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Tim Vickery's coming up a little bit later on in this hour. We're also going over to Houston, of course, for the Super Bowl for preparations, because that's going out on Sunday night, for those of you who are going to stay up all night and watch it. And, of course, the Porky Quiz this week, tonight, is on Texas, the Lone Star State. I'm going to predict a pretty low score for Porky, even though he claims he's been studying it. How have you been studying it for 2 days, by the way, when we only decided yesterday what the actual subject matter was going to be?
I had a feeling, almost like a premonition, that this would happen, so I got going very early on.
See, there would be those who might suggest that
Yes.
since you wanted to do the quiz on Texas, the fact that you started revising for a quiz on Texas on sort of Wednesday, sort of Tuesday night, and then asked to do a quiz on Texas on Wednesday night, would suggest that that was slightly underhand.
No, it wasn't underhand. It's called preparation. It's something
Well,
you're
why didn't you
not
tell
very
me
aware of.
why don't you tell me on Tuesday night that you wanted a quiz on Texas?
I had been also studying 3 other subjects which could have been potentials
Which
for
ones?
the quiz this week. Sorry?
Which ones?
Well, I told you about them, didn't I?
Well, you wanted to do Groundhog Day.
Exactly, Groundhog Day.
You then wanted to do Bill Murray.
Exactly, I studied that as well. So I do have a round knowledge of study.
All right.
Listen, we're going to have to look at the old Rafa situation, you know.
Rafa's not happy, is he?
Oh,
He
Rafa
says that they're not spending any money.
Rafa Benitez's Newcastle future is in serious doubt. The Toon boss wants answers after owner Mike Ashley's failure to back him in the January transfer window. Listen, Rafa always starts moaning when things go wrong.
Yeah.
It's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, he's happy as a sandboy when things are bubbling
Well,
along.
they're
and
still
he's
top of the league, aren't they?
No, I don't think so, because didn't Brighton draw last night?
Brighton did draw, I think, yeah.
And didn't that? Hang on, I'm going to get an illustration of the Championship table.
The Championship
table
should
will
tell
show
you
me.
everything.
It shows me everything. Brighton are still top, okay?
Yeah.
60 points, 28 games. Newcastle second on 59.
So they're only 1 point behind.
Yeah, but they've only got a 4-point gap, you know, over the chasing pack. Reading, Leeds,
Well, a
Huddersfield and
4-point
Derby.
gap in the Championship is a pretty good gap, though.
I'm not sure it is. It's 1 victory and 1 draw.
Well,
and
what's
you're
he
all
moaning
turned
about
around.
anyway?
Well, what he's saying is...
I mean, most of the people that he's got in his team are players who would have played in the Premier League anyway.
Well, most of the players in his team did all right the first half of the season, and Newcastle roaring away, and now, you know, he's found they've got an energy gap or something. The Spaniard feels let down after the club failed to re-sign Andros Townsend from Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Upset by an apparent change of direction in the boardroom, with Ashley taking a more prominent role.
Why are you reading it in a strange accent?
Well, I'm not. I'm reading it for emphasis.
I think a better story is the one about Joey Barton, who's on the back page of the Express, who actually says, you bet it's all over, because he's admitted to the FA 1,260 bets over the last 10 years.
Yes.
And he's likely to get a ban, which will take him to the end of the season with Burnley,
Yeah.
and then that'll be the end of him.
It's a very odd story. I wonder how all that came out, because to suddenly find that a player's been making bets to the extent of 1,260...
Well, it came out a while ago that he'd been making some bets, and the FA wanted to, talk to him about it.
That's right, yeah.
And now he's admitted to 1,260.
Well, you know, it's
quite a lot of bets, really.
You've got to deal with your problems in life. But the Rafa situation, if any of you Geordies are still out there staggering home from...
Why would you imagine Geordie staggering home?
Well, from Big Square. You know, Thursday's a big night up there.
Is it?
Yeah, and they're probably down on the quay.
Yeah.
And probably getting stuck in a big way.
Is it a bigger night Friday?
It's a big night Thursday, because they still traditionally, being a working class area of the country, artisans and that sort of stuff.
You sure?
Yeah. They used to get a brown envelope full of money on a Thursday.
Okay.
And they would take theirs out and give the rest to the missus,
Right.
who had to
You're
run
sure
the
you're
household.
not painting a portrait of life in the 1970s?
No, more like the 1920s, actually. But the thing is, they are historically people who are endorsed by their past.
I see.
And who welcome their future. You see what I mean?
Do you know what Komatsuma is?
Komatsuma?
Yeah. Komatsuna.
In what context?
Komatsuna. Well, it's a vegetable.
Oh, it's a vegetable, is it? Okay, well, listen, we'll talk about vegetables in a minute. If the Geordies
We've
are out
been
there-
talking about vegetables, and you claim to have bought some mustard-flavoured spinach.
Can I just finish on Mr. Benitez for a minute, please?
Well, no, I don't think so, because I think it's quite a boring story.
No, it's not. If Newcastle fans are worried they're about to lose their manager, and a manager of the quality of Rafa Benitez,
Well, is he, though?
who has taken the Champions League and has managed clubs like Real Madrid, then I would say that is a crisis on Tyneside.
Well, it may be a crisis, but only if he gets fired, I suppose.
Crisis on Tyneside, give us a call if you want to talk to us about it here on Talk Sport.
Why are you talking like a maniac?
No, I'm not. No.
Would you like to give the number out, then, since you're so full of yourself?
Would I like to give the number out? Well, I always like to give the number out.
Yeah, well, go on, then.
No, I'm going to let you do it.
You don't know the number, do you?
Of course I know the number. I'll give you the number.
do it.
08717
Yeah.
22 3344. And I
Well
always
done.
say it slowly so people can actually hear what it is.
Can you just do the normal accent, please?
08717 22 3344.
That's your Jeremy Vine voice, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Now, so here's what Komatsuna is, right? It's Japanese mustard spinach. And I don't believe you've actually bought this.
Yeah, there you go. See,
I don't
told
believe you bought Japanese mustard spinach.
Yes.
No, I don't think you did. Mm-hmm. Where did you buy it from?
I bought it from Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's?
Yes.
Right. Was it in this particularly exotic aisle?
No, it was in the
spinach area.
It was in the greengrocer area.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And was the greengrocer area bereft of other things?
No, it was actually. I didn't.
So there's no shortage in your part of the world, then?
Well, I think you'll find in Stockbroker Belt they know that people don't put up with shortages, and they've got a lot of money to pay for them if the price goes up. I think it's in other parts.
So
of the
how
world.
much did you pay for your spinach?
Spinach was about £1.20 a bag.
£1.20.
Yeah.
And what did you do with it?
Well, what do you think I did with it?
I think you boiled it.
Of course I boiled it, because that's what you do with spinach.
No, I keep telling you, you don't have to.
I have a huge spinach pan, okay? Literally.
A spinach pan?
Yeah, I have a spinach pan, yeah.
Where'd you get that?
Well, from the...
House of Spinach.
No, you idiot. From the pan shop. You know, I got it actually from Debenham's kitchen
Debenham's
area.
spinach pan?
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can get one of those.
Yeah.
I'm going to go online now. See if I can buy a spinach pan.
Okay, and it's a huge pan, and the reason why is that when you put 2 bags of spinach in it, it's honestly the size of a sofa, almost. You know what I mean? It's all spilling out the top and everything.
The size of a sofa?
Yeah, it's like a...
You sure you're doing this right?
It's like a burst sofa, you know. Anyway, the minute you pour
there's no such thing as a spinach pan.
The minute you pour the boiling water on, guess what happens?
It shrinks.
Exactly, it all shrinks away to...
Yeah, look, I've got some spinach recipes for you. You can saute it.
Yeah.
You can cook it in a steamer. You can make buttered spinach with it.
I don't want
with
to.
some cloves of garlic.
I didn't want to.
Well, you might as well just buy frozen spinach.
Listen, I'm just about to reveal now to our millions of listeners and yourself how far ahead of the game I am. Just
how
listen
far ahead
to
of the game are you?
This is a headline and a story which is leading one of tomorrow morning's newspapers.
Yeah.
Just listen to this.
Yeah.
Veg rationing at supermarkets.
Yeah, it's a load of cobbles.
Supermarkets
Absolute
are
rubbish.
rationing vegetables after extreme weather
Absolute
ravaged
rubbish.
the Mediterranean farming belt. Morrison's has imposed a limit of 3 heads of broccoli and 3 iceberg lettuces per customer at its 492 stores.
Well, who in their right mind would buy more than 3 heads of iceberg lettuce? What would you need to do that for?
You might be having a sort of dinner party at home or something.
Well, but you have to be an awful lot of people if you need 3 heads of lettuce.
Some Tesco outlets have also capped lettuce purchases at 3. Online supermarkets, this is where you're going to run into trouble, pal. Online supermarkets are listing many popular vegetables as unavailable.
Oh, yeah.
While pictures of empty produce aisles are doing the rounds on social media. See, I anticipated all this. The problem started with aubergines and courgettes, but shoppers can now also expect shortages of baby spinach, mixed leaves rocket, lollo rossa, cauliflower, peppers, cucumbers. Yeah.
Why are you speaking like an Italian now? Have you lost the plot altogether?
Tomatoes.
Right, lost 3-1 last night, by the way.
What? Lost 3-1?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Where was that?
Well, I think they were at home, weren't they?
Oh, were they? Oh, well, we'll find that in a minute. Lemons and oranges, okay? And industry leaders say lack of supply and resulting high prices could last until April. Farming regions of southern Europe have been hit by storms, snow and flooding. I mean, I saw it all coming.
Yeah, but this is all
I deserve
rubbish.
credit for this, you know.
No, you don't.
I do.
I mean, this is why people are still running newspapers that must be still like you, who ratchet up these kinds of terrible, ridiculous situations where, a shortage is created because people think there's a shortage. As simple as that. Now, if you want to go and buy stuff, there is no problem at all. The fact that they're rationing it means that they've got it.
Yeah.
A proper shortage means they haven't got it.
Well,
do you see what I'm saying?
Haven't you seen the gaps in the shelves?
Yeah, that doesn't matter,
all
though.
These pictures.
Yeah, but you're missing my point.
Well, they haven't made that up, have they?
No, but they have got the stuff in the back. They're just not putting it out because they're worried that people are going to buy it. It's like when they say there's going to be a shortage of petrol. People start queuing up at petrol stations. I mean, people are idiotic, right? They will queue up for 2 hours and create the shortage, which has been predicted, thereby making it a self-fulfilling prophecy. That is the problem.
No, honestly,
people are like sheep.
I think you've got a little envy in you because I spotted the...
I have no envy in my body. I do not envy anything or anybody.
I spotted the potential problem. I alerted our millions of listeners. I told the world it was going to happen.
Well, if that makes you happy, then I'm more than happy to congratulate you. But the fact is, it's a bogus story and it's a bogus shortage because if it wasn't a bogus shortage, why would they be rationing something they don't have?
It is now happening, and I think you feel left out. I'll be regarded as an expert on this sort of thing.
Yeah, I've often thought, what on earth would I do to make myself as well informed and as expert as you are in so many fields?
Yep.
Including the spinach field.
Well, there you go. By the way, you were right about Storm Doris.
Storm Doris doesn't seem to be happening.
Well, they say it's going to hit at 100 miles an hour
really?
over high ground. And,
when?
It
was meant to hit on Thursday, wasn't it?
It says in the next 36 hours.
Well, they told us it was coming on Thursday.
Well, it didn't come on Thursday, but I don't know whether or not it's kind of slowed up a bit, but it seems to be on the way.
I've got a far more worrying story for you about food, by the way. Oh, yes. And this is from Fergus. The only items that Porky's supermarket of choice may run out of are cheap plonk and fish fingers. And I presume you've seen the fish fingers story, which is far more worrying, I would have thought, for you than it is for anybody else. They're reducing the size of the packet, but charging the same amount of money.
It's not good.
They're going from 12 to 10.
Yeah.
So you might have a bit more difficulty or a bit more ease making the fish finger pyramid.
Well, fortunately, I'm in a position to be able to buy 2 packets of fish fingers if I need them.
Really?
Same as I'm in the position to be able to get to the front of the queue at the grocery counter and buy up whatever I want, even if the price goes up. I don't care.
Really?
Yeah, I will suffer that.
Why don't you just go and buy a load of broccoli and store it in your locked room?
Well, I haven't got a locked room, so you can't store it. And you can't freeze. You can't freeze fresh produce anyway. It's never the same when you freeze. Well,
you can.
You'd never freeze. You'd be mad to freeze broccoli, wouldn't you?
Not particularly. Depends what you're going to do with it.
It'd be horrible.
Depends what you're going to do with it.
I wouldn't freeze broccoli. I bought some tomatoes today, and I have not put them in the fridge.
Have you tried tasting them?
They're salad tomatoes, and what I've done is...
Did you get organic ones, like I told you?
Couldn't find organic ones, but I put them in the window because they will then get ripened by the sunlight.
Why are they green? You bought green tomatoes?
No, I bought red tomatoes, but they need to be redder. They're a kind of insipid red, and I want them to be I want them to be cricket ball red.
You know what's going to happen when you get home? They're going to be full of flies and things. So I wouldn't have done that.
No, they're not going to be full of flies. There are only flies around at the moment. Anyway, I don't have flies in my kitchen. I haven't opened the window.
Well, you will now that you put loads of tomatoes out.
No, I haven't opened the window. I've just put them next to the window.
I see. It'd be shocking.
You don't realise, you see. It's the gamma rays from the sun.
That guy's skiing without snow.
It's the gamma ray. What?
He's skiing without snow. Snowless skiing.
So what's all that about?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute. This is Talk Sport.
Ooh.
Madness, they call it madness. Madness, they call it madness. I'm about to explain it.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There is, of course, a Porky Quiz on Texas coming up a bit later on as well. James says at the two mics, I just Googled spinach pan and I got a photograph of spinach in a pan. There is no such thing as a spinach pan.
Oh, really?
And here's one from Scott. It says, don't worry, MG, the biggest vegetable is sitting next to you. There's no shortage there.
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Which is rather good,
well,
I have to say.
You see, when people run out of the argument, it's just abuse, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yes.
Brendan says, Storm Doris is already hitting us down here in the southwest, Porky. It started Wednesday night, and it's still going strong.
Going. Wow.
Who are you?
Yeah, well, you see, I'm thinking of hitting the coast this weekend, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be worth it because, I mean, the weather that
you mean after the show tomorrow?
No, probably after our Saturday morning show, doing the warm-up this week from 11 till 1.
After the warm-up tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, of course, it's Friday today, isn't it? Yes,
it's
that's
Friday
the one.
already,
That's the one. Now, I'm not just winning on the vegetable front in terms of alerting people to, the proper way that things are happening in the world. What about this one? And you will have to give me credit for this as well. This is
Well,
another
it's just going to be one long hagiography, this show.
Well, I can't help
Why don't I
it.
just give you credit for everything that has ever been done in the world at any point in time, and then we can move on?
I can't help it if these things happen at timely moments.
Yeah.
The headline is Best Way to Fight Misery of Back Pain.
Yeah.
And then it says, people with bad backs should forget taking painkillers and start stretching instead.
Uh-huh.
Now, who brought that into the studio
No
a
idea.
month ago?
No idea.
Hang on, I told you that the way I was going to cure my back was...
Well, no, you said you had sciatica.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
right.
said that you were doing some limbering up movements.
And I was
You
hanging...
didn't say anything about stretching.
I was hanging off the door frames.
No, you didn't say that.
Well, I'm going to take you to task, and the reason why I can remember it, and you'll have to...
You can't remember what you said 5 minutes ago.
No, you'll have to concede to this, is you said, oh, that's funny, my dad, who was a wiry individual,
Yes.
your father Archie, a fine
true.
man who I've spoken of very highly
Yes.
in the past.
You've also insulted him incredibly horribly as well.
You said that he used to do the same sort
He
of thing
certainly
on
did
door
used to do
frames.
that.
Well,
That's
I
very
mean,
true.
how would I have known about that?
Well, you
unless
might be
said
imagining it. I might have told you that years ago.
No, you didn't. You told me that on the show here
Really?
about a month ago, and our
Really?
millions of listeners will remember.
All right.
So I then said, well, that's what you do. You stretch. I said, it's very good for your back. You don't need all these painkillers. You don't need all these...
How many tablets a day do you take?
16.
16?
That's for my heart.
Just
That's
checking.
not for my back.
Yeah, but there must be painkillers in
but
there.
What I'm saying is you don't need to go and see all these chiropractors all the time and all that. Just stretch your body out.
Uh-huh.
So, for instance, sometimes when I walk on
You
the...
don't look as if you've been stretching your body.
No,
out.
hang on. Sometimes I walk on the downs.
Yeah.
I go through like a park, you know. It's like a recreation park.
Oh, yeah.
And they do have...
Is that sort of fenced off on the downs then?
It is fenced off a bit. Yeah, you're right, yeah. And they have, like, swings and things. And what I always do
Right.
is I stand on the swing...
Well, hang on. It's a kids' park then.
It is a kids' park,
Well, you
yeah.
shouldn't be going on the equipment.
Well, there's nobody in it. There's
No,
nobody
that's
in it.
not the point.
No, I make sure there's nobody
No, but
there.
you can break it.
No,
It's not designed for somebody of your size.
No, you don't understand. I stand on the swing.
No, you should
and
not
then-
go into children's
And
play
then I
areas.
jump up on the frame of the swing.
Yeah.
And then I pull myself up and
You're
down.
lucky you haven't been arrested.
And shake my back into shape.
Shake
okay?
my booty. Well, you're lucky
Yeah.
you haven't been arrested.
No,
you start
no,
doing that
it's not
sort
a kids
of
thing. It's not a
on
kids
your
thing.
own.
There's all sorts of
No,
climbing
kids'
frames
parks
and all
are
that.
designed for kids. They're not designed for grown people to swing on.
Well, if I can get my back sorted by utilising it, that's the way it is.
So have you sorted your back out then by stretching? Is that what you're telling
Do you know
me?
what? I haven't had a back problem now, touch wood, for a month.
A month?
At least a month. And by the way, I've got a new device in the car, which helps my back a bit
device?
more. Yeah, a new
What sort of device?
It's a new pad which I use just on the right side of my back. I was falsely putting a support right across my back.
Why don't
and-
you get one of those things that the cab drivers used to have in New York? You know, the beads.
Yeah, the bead thing. Yeah. I don't know what they were for.
Well, they were for people who drove an awful lot.
Yeah, but
and they were to help them from not getting a pain in the back.
I was told they were mostly because New York's so hot and an awful lot of the air conditioning in those cabs just used to break down all the time.
They were very hot, yeah.
It was to stop their back sticking to their seats, to be honest. Yeah, and that's what it was about. But anyway, let me just finish here. Over-the-counter pills such as ibuprofen
Yes.
are rarely effective when it comes to relieving chronic back pain.
Is that right?
Scientists have now discovered in a groundbreaking new study, and you heard it first here.
Yeah, so what you're telling me
eh?
is that you were actually so far ahead of the curve
Yes.
that you came up with this all on your own, having not read it anywhere else.
No, I hadn't read it
Really?
anywhere
Are
else.
you sure?
I
don't believe you.
No, I worked it out in my own head.
Yeah.
It says, in a groundbreaking new study, just one patient in 6 achieved any significant pain relief. Doctors say concentrating on exercise programmes... Now, this is the crucial paragraph. Doctors say concentrating on exercise programmes to boost, right? To boost. I'm turning the page
Why are
here.
you saying to boost 3 times?
To boost our
To
core
boost.
muscles, right? You've got to look after your core muscles.
Yeah.
Therefore, strengthening the back is much more effective. An estimated 6 of the UK population suffers from back pain at any one time.
6 of the UK population?
An estimated 1/6 of the UK
1/6?
population suffers from back pain at any one time, which costs the economy up to £1 billion a year.
Yeah, okay.
See,
I'm bored already with all this self-congratulation.
Yeah, back, neck and muscle problems lead to a staggering 31 million days off work.
Well, how do they work that out?
Last year, according to the Office for National Statistics.
Yeah,
How
you
about
see,
that?
yeah, but you see, they work all this stuff out and you swallow it all hook, line and sinker.
Unbelievable.
The fact that you were ever a journalist staggers me sometimes.
Really?
You believe anything that anybody tells you.
Yeah, but I
you
mean-
say that just because the Office for National Statistics says we lose 31 million days a year because of some nonsense about back pain, you don't actually ask them how they came to that figure.
Well,
does it not actually interest you?
Well, the point is that is the only reliable source of information.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's right, though.
That you can draw your facts from, right?
It doesn't mean it's right, does it? Because they extrapolate these figures and they say, obviously we've lost 31 million. Well, you shouldn't.
I accept their
You should
figures.
question authority at all
I
times.
accept their figures.
How about this from Def,
Yeah.
who says the vegetable shortage hasn't even registered in Manchester.
Yeah.
You don't win friends with salad.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he says, are chips vegetables?
No, I was about to say, most people in Manchester don't bother with vegetables anyway, so it wouldn't hit you there. No, it'll be in the twee parts of Britain, like the Cotswolds and, places like North London. And
North London, what you mean, like Tottenham?
No, more sort of more chic than Tottenham.
More chic than Tottenham? Is there any other place more chic than Tottenham?
Well, I'm not saying Tottenham's unchic.
They shouldn't be having a hard time.
But, in places like, the Cheshire Stockbroker Belt and all that kind of stuff,
How about this from Phil?
Certainly
He
the
says,
Surrey Stockbroker
there will soon
Belt
be
as well.
no world food shortages. Soon 3D printers will be printing food.
Well,
this technology is moving forward.
Well,
that's a very, very interesting point, isn't it?
You can't rub that possibility out, can you?
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing that could well happen.
Abdul says, MG, has Porky ever heard of Mike the Headless Chicken? It lived on a farm without a head for 19 years.
What?
Look it up.
What on earth are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, I definitely have not heard of that. Now then, I don't want to talk to you about...
Well, we haven't got a lot of time because we're going to talk to Tim Vickery soon.
Yeah, I know we're talking to Tim soon. There is a new debate about clean air, don't you? And
well, I'm not sure it's new.
Oh, no.
It's going on for a while.
It is so complicated now. Everybody's blaming everybody else. Why diesels are being demonised. But one thing that is now being blamed in a huge way, and I think you are involved in this, are these wood-burning stoves.
When you say I'm involved in it, what do you mean?
Well, you've got one, haven't you?
I do have a wood-burning
That's
stove.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right, our trendy wood burners taking us back to the pea soup of the 1950s.
Absolute rubbish. This is Sadiq Khan's shtick, isn't it?
No.
He's basically claiming that the weather and the air in London last week was so bad that people should not go out and exercise in it. They should avoid walking because the combination of fumes from vehicles and wood-burning stoves were somehow the cause. Absolute and utter cobblers.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
You're absolutely right about Mr. Sadiq Khan.
Yeah.
It says in this piece here, wood-burning stoves have become the irresistible ambience of a wood stove is now the trendiest thing you can have in London.
It is beautiful. Funnily enough, I just changed my Twitter picture.
Yeah.
Because on Twitter you've got two pictures, right?
Yes.
You've got your own picture, which is the smaller one, right, of the two.
Yes.
Which is this one here, which I've changed recently to me.
Yes.
At the Hen and Chickens, and I did have a picture of the fireworks going off at Big Ben.
Yes.
At midnight, but I thought since we're no longer in January,
that's
no longer appropriate. So I've actually used a picture, which I think you'll agree is rather nice, of a fire in my wood-burning stove. See that?
Very nice indeed.
Isn't that nice?
However,
gives you a nice warm feeling.
Yes, I agree, it does. However, it says London's Mayor Sadiq Khan this week declared that wood-burning stoves.
Yeah.
What are they called?
Wood-burning stones.
No, wood-burning... what are they called?
Wood-burning stoves.
Stoves, that's right, yeah. Have a very high pollution
He's
threat.
talking out of his backside.
No, he's saying very, very high pollution threat. He says freezing fog and smoke particles have combined to form a deadly air across London.
Yeah, but this was a couple of weeks ago and it was very cold. And he said because it was so... And in fact, this was another thing you came out with the other week.
Yes.
Because it was so cold, there was no wind.
Yeah.
Which, in fact, is not actually the case. But it was quite still.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is all... You know what this is leading up to? It's leading up to Sadiq Khan saying, now in London, if you own a wood-burning stove, we're going to slap an extra 20 quid a week on your council tax.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That's what he's going to do next.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you, because that's what...
that's all they do.
That's what people like him do. Let's throw some money at the problem, or let's raise more taxes.
Yeah, let's put some taxes on.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, let's have a congestion charge in London. That will reduce the number of cars. In fact, cars have actually gone up since they introduced the congestion charge. So what do? Oh, I know. If there's more cars used in London, let's raise the congestion charge. And raise more
at
money.
the same time, without wishing to get onto the subject of cycle lanes, let's make the roads actually smaller.
That's right.
So that there's less space for the cars to go into.
And not only that, they will pump out much more pollution to combine with the pollution from the wood-burning stoves, and then we've got absolutely filthy polluted air, and it's all down to our policies.
Exactly.
But the worst thing is, you won't believe this, can you believe that Cornwall, where most people would say has got beautiful fresh air, and people go down there for the clean air and the seaside, they are literally, the Cornwall Council have drawn up a plan to evacuate large parts of the county in the event of pollution levels becoming so high that they will have to move people out of places like Redruth
and
St Austell and Bodmin, because It's mad.
It is
Dozens
mad.
of families risk losing their homes under compulsory purchase powers and being moved elsewhere to protect them from air pollution in Cornwall.
Have these people not learned anything from what happened in America?
Have they gone mad?
They're all going to be kicked out unceremonially very soon.
Have they gone mad?
We've got to talk to Tim Vickery. We'll find out what the pollution levels are like in Rio. I bet they're a lot worse than they are in London.
Good idea.
Terrible shortage of broccoli and cauliflower online, says somebody called Hate.
There is.
And he has sent in a picture of his basket at Tesco's, which includes 5 Tesco broccolis, 5 Tesco cauliflowers, and 5 Tesco pre-packed broccoli.
Right.
So he's buying as much as you like.
Good.
This is Talk Sport.
Good.
Take me on a roller coaster. Take me for an airplane ride. Take me for a 6-day wonder. But don't you pull my side to side. What's real and made to be. Baby James and Acapulco, we are flying down to Rio.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. The Porky Quiz coming up on Texas a little bit later on, which is slightly closer to Brazil than we are, but perhaps not by a great margin. That music, of course, signifies that we are going to talk to Mr. Tim Vickery, who is down in Brazil right now. Tim, a very good morning to you. Welcome back.
And a good morning to you, Michael. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Very well
We're
indeed.
doing very well
indeed.
indeed, yeah.
Now, you're back in the land of sunshine and warmth, and funnily enough, we were just talking about the pollution in London. I mean, what's the pollution like in Rio? Because I assume it's worse than it is here.
Yeah, it's not very good. Luckily, I'm one of those people who just doesn't notice it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, when I go back to London and people are moaning about the air quality, I'm thinking, I just can't feel it. You know,
yeah.
I'm obviously so densely stupid and so accustomed to it.
No, you're not. Honestly, you're not, Tim. The point is that it's in most people's imaginations and minds. Honest to God, we work in London all the time, and on days when we say, "Oh, high pollution alert," it doesn't look any different. It doesn't feel any different. You're not inhaling anything different. Believe me, it's one of those massive politically correct missions designed to raise taxes. It's as simple as that.
Well, I was in Chile about 18 months ago for the Copa America, and Santiago is in this bowl.
Yes.
It's in this valley, which is a bowl. So if there's no wind, the industrial clouds and so on, it just hangs there. And you could really see it. I mean, there were warnings. It was the first warnings in years and years and years about air quality. And I felt it a little bit. And I had problems with my contact lenses.
Right.
They were stinging a little bit. So that's the only time, and that was in really severe conditions.
Sure.
And the fact that there was a football tournament going on in that weather was probably a scandal. But there you go, the contracts had been signed.
Yeah.
But usually in London and so on, I just don't feel it, which makes me feel a little bit lucky and a little bit stupid at the same time.
Yeah,
Sure.
wouldn't worry too much.
Now, let's talk about Jesus,
Yeah,
which I
we
think
have
is
a
the
new
correct
star.
pronunciation of the word. I'm sure you'll tell me the
right.
absolute,
That's right.
Jesus.
the absolute correct one, but a few people have struggled with it. But he's clearly a man with some kind of future here, isn't he?
Yeah, by some miracle, you have pronounced Jesus correctly. Well done.
Well, it's not a miracle, Tim. It's my large amount of time and exposure to your pronunciation of Portuguese and Brazilian.
Yeah, I suppose not quite as big a miracle as turning the water into wine.
No, not
or
quite.
scoring a goal against West Ham, although that's no longer a miracle these days, is it?
No, it's
Certainly
But what
not,
a
especially in
start
London
he's
Stadium.
made. And what a start. So, and I felt for him because,
Yeah.
if you come over in July from Brazil, especially from Sao Paulo, where he's from, you're kind of gaining something. Sao Paulo in July, it's quite cool. Lots of people going around in kind of bobble hats, and it's dark early. You come over July to England, it's all lovely. You get lots of daylight and so on. You come over when he came over in January, my God.
Yeah.
I was so cold that my nose was falling off, so he's never experienced that kind of cold. He's gone into the deep end, but he's done extraordinarily well.
Well, I think he's created history. I think he's the only boy to have made his to have scored on his debut and assisted in another goal in his first game after being imported from South America. So he really has made his mark.
And how great is this for Man City, because Sergio Aguero is a fantastic player, but he does struggle to last the season sometimes. If you look at his goals, he tends to get them in bursts.
Yep.
And then there'll be spells when he's not quite there. So, you get another one in of that kind of quality. I'm worried now as a Tottenham fan, thinking, well, we're in second place. I'm looking over my shoulder now at Man City.
Yeah, well, maybe.
The question, I suppose, is whether he pushes Sergio Aguero out of Manchester City and he returns to
Well, there's
possibly
competition
Spain.
for that space now, isn't there? Which is a good thing for the old manager. But there's always the danger, Tim. You'll have seen this often, I think, in South America, of these people being hailed as, the great new hope and all that. And they fizzle out so quickly, don't they, some of them?
It's a very accurately spotted danger, Mike, and it applies to him as well and he really is very, very promising. But there have been times when things have not been going his way, when his head can drop a little bit.
Yeah.
So before we come to any definitive judgment about him, let's wait and see him when it doesn't go for him. When he misses a couple of chances and so on. Let's see him in the bad times. He's got off to a flyer, but let's see if he can do it in the bad times as well. That'll be a test of him.
That will be a huge test.
That will, of course, be the test. And what about Neymar? Because there's some talk that he's having the worst season of his life. Possibly not quite that bad, but the worst one for a while.
Yeah, the stats would seem to indicate that. It's the worst season that he's had in his time with Barcelona. I was on Brazilian TV this morning, and we had a link up with a journalist from one of those Spanish sports papers, and they're worried a little bit because, Barcelona, they've been a little bit scarred with some of the Brazilians who've come over and been brilliant, but for a short period of time. And Romario was actually one season with Barcelona, and then he wanted to go home. He played a few months of the next season, and then he went home. Ronaldinho, and it was fantastic, but it was fantastic pretty briefly, 2.5 years, maximum 3, and after that, it all a little bit went down the tubes with his off-the-field activities and excesses. And Neymar, he does get up to a lot of things. He's very active on social media, so there is that fear. Personally, I don't think that there's the risk of him going off the rails, perhaps in the way that Ronaldinho did. I'll just rattle off a list for you. 2011 Copa America, 2012 London Olympics, 2013 Confederations Cup, 2014 World Cup, 2015 Copa America, 2016 Olympics. He's gone year after year after year after year with no full break. And there's a time when, not only physically but also mentally, the bill comes for that, and maybe it's come this year. So I think it's probably just as well that Brazil won't be taking part in June in the Confederations Cup. So this year, at least, he'll have a complete summer to put his feet up, and I think he'll be all the better for it.
Yeah, when you say return home, do you mean like homesickness, Tim, or do you mean back into his environment, or what do you mean by that? When he spends a year in Europe and wants to when players want to get home, what is it about South America they miss?
Well, homesickness, and in the case of Romario, and he'd worked out, Brazil had a new currency that had just come in. It's exactly the time that I moved over here, and that new currency was worth more than the dollar. So Romario worked out that he could go back and play for a Brazilian club and earn as much at that time. He could earn as much as he was getting playing for Barcelona, but he would never have to train because he was Romario.
Yeah.
He could do all of what he wanted and only what he wanted, and that's what he did.
So it wasn't as competitive, you mean?
Not at all, not at all. And, and basically after that, he played on for another decade, and he scored lots of goals, but he hardly scored another important goal in his life. And every time the ante was up a little bit, he broke down because he wasn't fit enough, because he hadn't been doing the training.
Yeah, well,
really,
what a waste of a marvellous
with a few
skill.
Brazilians, including the great Ronaldo, that they seem to tire of the discipline needed to be an absolutely top-class athlete.
Yeah.
It seems to be harder for them to keep that one up than it is for people of other countries. I suspect it has something to do with the fact that a lot of these players they grew up poor and they couldn't consume.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, with all the money, the doors to every sweetie shop in town were open, and life suddenly offered so many things and so many fields that were interesting for them.
Well, that's a South American thing, isn't it? Maradona went down the very but didn't he?
Well, I suppose but the stereotype of South American players many years ago was, they don't train very hard, they don't like the cold weather and all of that, but which has kind of been put to the sword, and nobody would say that, except that now, with one or two examples, you can revisit it, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think it'll always be the case that the really, really talented player won't necessarily have the same discipline and mental strength as a less talented player.
Yeah.
Because the less talented player, he owes his career in the game to that discipline and mental strength. You know, there are many people with his level of ability. What makes him stand out is the fact that he is prepared to put more in.
Yeah, it's a bit like Porky and I, Tim, to be honest. He's always moaning that I don't work hard enough, but I keep saying to him it's because I don't have to.
Well,
there's no point having a dog and barking. Do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, Tim, the biggest example of what you've just said in European terms, well, I can think of two, Paul Gascoigne and George Best. I mean, George Best was so good at what he did, he would have no qualms about being in a nightclub till 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning and then going home and having a shower and going and playing for Manchester United at Fulham. I actually know he did that once with a colleague of ours on the Daily Express. Gazza became so blasé about being able to play football at the highest level that his lifestyle just overtook him. He didn't think it was necessary to stay fit.
But then it caught up with both of them in the end.
Of course it did, yeah.
Because in the long run, there's only ever one winner, isn't it? And it's time.
Yeah, that's right.
The athlete versus time.
Yeah.
Time wins every time.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, it's absolutely right.
Now, a couple of transfers possibly still
Yes.
coming to this country, to the Premier League. A Venezuelan coming to Manchester City, a couple of Uruguayans and an Ecuadorian.
They're leaving, the Ecuadorians and the Uruguayan. The Venezuelan coming in. He's playing at the moment for Venezuela, in fact, as we speak, in the South American Under-20 Championships. He's very much a kind of British-style all-round midfielder, kind of Roy Keane kind of player called Yangel Herrera. He looks a little impulsive, but very, very talented. I like him a lot. So I think he's a good one, but he's certainly one for the long term. One leaving us from your club, or he's going on loan anyway, Leandro Rodriguez from Everton, who Martinez signed him. Said, he's got lots of top-class experience in a competitive league like Uruguay. Yeah. And I was thinking, what planet is he on? Uruguay, it's got a population of just over 3 million. It means all the best players are sold, which means that the domestic league really isn't very good, which means that performances in the domestic league really don't mean very much when you bring them over to the Premiership.
Exactly.
So no surprise at all that he hasn't got on the field, really. Yeah. He's gone to Belgium. Another one who came over from Uruguay, straight from Uruguay to Middlesbrough, Carlos de Pena. He's hardly got on the field. He's gone to Oviedo in the Spanish second division. Now, he really wanted to come. When he came, this is about 18 months ago, he was on his way to the airport in Uruguay. He had a car crash. His mum was injured in the car crash. He went to the hospital, dropped her off at the hospital, and then drove straight back to the airport, get on a plane to go to Middlesbrough. Now, no one's been that desperate to go to Middlesbrough since Chris Rea was driving home for Christmas.
Well, you're absolutely right.
I think that's absolutely right. Tim, thank you very much indeed. We've got to run, unfortunately. Tim Vickery in Brazil. It's Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. There will, of course, be a podcast coming out a little bit later on, and we are back on the warm-up from 11 o'clock tomorrow morning ahead of the big game, which, of course, is Chelsea-Arsenal, isn't it? 12:30
Certainly
kickoff, which we may talk about a little bit later on as well.
It certainly is.
Should we not give Derek and Pencoed a proper sort of happy birthday scenario? Because he's asking
Is it his
for
birthday?
one. Well, he's saying his birthday is on Sunday, the 5th of February,
right?
When he turns 50.
And we won't be on the air.
So that is quite a big sort of milestone, isn't it?
Right.
Your 50th birthday.
Well, I want to officially say happy birthday to Derek from Pencoeth in South Wales. And that is a shout-out. But he actually says, I am now a janitor.
Yes.
So it must be...
That's tremendous news, isn't it?
There doesn't seem to be a future in the bog cleaning business that Derek used to...
Well, maybe he's now just been moved up a little bit.
Well, he got to the summit of the bog cleaning business, no doubt about it, as you quite rightly say. Eventually
he's
gave
very
him a
good at
brush.
it.
Yeah, that's right. And but he's now a janitor, so, that's a step up in the world.
Well, many happy returns as well.
To the Janny.
And I've also got one other birthday wish, and it's from Gail, whose son Rohan is going to be 15 tomorrow.
Wow.
That's actually today, Friday.
Right.
Please make his day and give him a mention.
Yeah, what's his name again?
These guys live out in Abu Dhabi. Rohan.
Oh, Rohan, I saw some pictures of you. Rohan, have a very, very happy 15th birthday. I did reply with a tweet.
Did you?
To wish you a happy birthday in print, so to speak, but I'm very happy to re-endorse that with this message on the air.
Yeah, very good indeed. Now, did you find out earlier on, by the way, I don't know whether you spotted this, that we were, in fact, or you specifically, the Cinnamon Challenge specifically, is going to become even more famous in another part of the world, perhaps, where people haven't seen it.
Well, didn't somebody from a TV company want to use it? Did they seek permission?
The show's called N2K, right?
Right.
And they got in touch with the Two Mics at the Two Mics website.
Yes.
To ask whether or not it would be all right to use the Cinnamon Challenge versus Porky Parry video.
Yes.
Which, of course, is on the Two Mics TV.
Yes.
On YouTube.
And I see you gave them permission.
I did, yeah.
Don't you think you should have consulted me?
No, I didn't think that was necessary.
No?
No, I thought, considering you've given it away to everybody else.
No, I'm giving it away.
I thought you'd be more than... I thought you'd be more than happy.
25 million times.
But anyway, listen, here's where it goes, right?
Yes.
This news company, which is made by ITN Productions in London,
right,
is broadcast by Al Hurra, and it goes to 22 countries in the Middle East and North Africa.
Well, I'm very
so you
pleased.
can become a sensation
Yeah.
in parts of the world where previously people haven't seen you.
Would that mean if I flew there, they'd upgrade my seat to business?
They might well do.
That's great.
You might be greeted as
That's great.
a sort of visiting dignitary.
Yeah, that's right,
You
yeah.
know, all hail Porky Parry, the man who can do the cinnamon challenge.
Can you imagine if I got off the plane and,
You can head to like Morocco or somewhere.
No, I was about to say, it's Porky's here. And as I got off the plane and got to the steps at the bottom, there's a table there with a spoonful of cinnamon. And I say, no, do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I die.
Yeah. Well, there's always hope, I
But
suppose.
anyway, I'm delighted it's going around the world, and the more people who see it, the merrier.
Exactly.
Now, listen, got to get serious for a minute here, man, because you and I have discussed tonight this Berahino drug shock story.
Yes, on the back of the Daily Mail.
Yes, but the crucial issue is the one you've just raised with me. So the story goes so far. It says, Saido Berahino was suspended after failing a drugs test in September, right? OK, we've got that. This is an allegation Sportsmail are revealing.
Yeah.
We haven't got the information, but the Daily Mail have. So it's an allegation in print this morning.
That's right.
The controversial England under-21 striker is understood to have tested positive for a recreational drug in an out-of-competition test. That's fine, right? But then the third paragraph, the suspension ended before he completed his £12 million move from West Brom to Stoke City a fortnight ago. And the fourth paragraph, yesterday, Stoke, Stoke are the club that have bought the player,
That's right? Yeah.
Just and the FA and Berahino's agent declined to comment, with a spokesman for Stoke simply requesting this newspaper contact the governing body.
Yeah.
So
well,
that,
I mean,
what that
nobody,
means
wants
is
to,
the
nobody
question.
wants to talk about this story because every single person involved in it seems to be declining to comment.
Now, the question you want to put to it is this.
Well, my question basically is that if you are selling a player to another club, whether that club actually knew of this particular scenario, this particular infrazione, right?
Yeah.
Because, for example, if West Brom did know about this infraction and did not tell Stoke and meanwhile still sold the player, then surely that would be some kind of actionable thing, wouldn't
Well,
it?
absolutely.
Because it would be not revealing all the things that you know. It may well be that West Brom told Stoke and Stoke understood that this was the case and it was a one-off and all of that, and it actually didn't really affect the price or their interest in buying him. But the story doesn't seem to be too clear on that.
Well, I have absolutely no doubt that our boys on the breakfast show tomorrow, when Stoke are available, will no doubt put the call in and have to ask that question.
Well, at the moment, Stoke are not commenting on the story at all.
Yeah.
And Berahino's last game for West Brom was in September of 2016, September the 10th. Yeah. As you said, a 1-0 defeat at Bournemouth. So Tony Pulis told one newspaper that Berahino was struggling with his weight. He told other people that Berahino needed to get his act together. He was suspended during one period when he was said to be at a fitness camp in France. It's all been a bit murky, hasn't it?
There's an information here in the same story. Remember, these are allegations printed in the Daily Mail. It says, what's one July? Now, Sportsmail, this is the Daily Mail's reporting team, believes that Berahino claimed there were extenuating circumstances around the positive test and Stoke were made aware of the situation prior
to him being sold to them.
Prior to him being sold to them.
Well, you'd have to believe that, because if that wasn't the case, surely in a way, Stoke would have every right to be very, very angry about it altogether.
Yeah.
But the problem is, because Stoke haven't said anything, it's not very clear. And I mean, to be fair, people might say, "Oh, well, it's it's nobody's business but Stoke's business." But actually, the fans presumably are due some kind of information on this, aren't they?
Well, what I find astonishing, I'm surprised Stoke bought him, because we all know that Berahino was once rated at £25 million and was on his way to Spurs, but that move never went ahead.
No, it didn't.
But then when you read things from the manager saying, well, he had a weight problem and then he had the injury
to get his head together. I mean, there was clearly a problem. I mean, and it wasn't just under Tony Pulis. I mean, he had problems at West Brom before Tony Pulis got there.
He certainly did. And so I'm sorry, but being an observer of human behaviour and a people watcher and all that, I felt absolutely that Berahino's best days were behind him and that you were buying yourself a bundle of problems here. And I think that's what Stoke have done. Yeah. And I have no idea whether this information on the back of the Daily Mail will be verified or not by any of the parties concerned, but it's a massive allegation which will have to be responded to.
Indeed. Yes. And it will be a story, I'm sure, that follows over the next couple of days, and will be more revelations coming out. Because, as I say, the fans alone deserve, from Stoke, for example, deserve to know what Stoke have bought. Yeah. Have they bought a player who's going to be troublesome, as you said? Yes. Have they bought a player who's got a bit of a history? Have they bought a player who has, in some way, fallen foul of the drug testing scenario?
He went very erratic as as well, remember, when he didn't get his deal to go to Tottenham, he started blaming everybody, like the chairman at West Brom, who was Jeremy Peace, I think, wasn't it? I think
That's
he still
right.
is, isn't he?
Yeah.
And, or West Brom got new owners.
I think they got new owners,
I think Mr. Peace has moved on,
Yeah, I think he has.
But you know, we had a real public go at him and said he'd wrecked his career and all that kind of stuff, you know. So, but he did say, funny enough, he made a statement, I've just picked this up. After his move to Stoke, Berahino claimed, I am not a troublemaker. Yes, as a young lad, I made stupid mistakes and got caught in the papers a few times, but I'm not somebody that would want to harm anyone. I'm not trouble.
No, well, we shall see, and we'll see whether Mark Hughes has got the right sort of abilities to put him on the straight and narrow. A couple of other tweets that have come in.
Yes.
Here's one from Mark, who says, Porky and his comrades are responsible for price hikes with saying there are going to be shortages. # man of the people, my backside, or words to that effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've got another one here from Philip, who says, any chance of a happy birthday shout-out to me tonight? I'm a massive fan, and none of my half-baked friends will bother.
Sorry, this is Philip.
Philip,
Do we know where Philip's from?
We don't.
No, OK. Well, Philip, a very happy birthday, my boy. And when you say none of your half-baked friends will bother, that doesn't sound like you got friends, really.
It sounds a bit harsh, that, doesn't it?
You know, normally speaking, at that sort of age, not sure what sort of age you are.
He
by the
doesn't
way.
say what age he is.
You get together with a few pals and have a few sherbets, don't you?
You would have thought so.
Get down the Indian with a few lagers.
Down the Indian with a few lagers.
Yeah.
Is that the way you celebrated your 50th?
It was, actually.
Down the Indian with a few lagers?
No, it was when I celebrated my last birthday, not my 50th.
Oh, okay.
And it was the.
I thought you had a birthday celebration with your family.
I did, but on the actual day of my birthday, I took a few colleagues from here to the Indian restaurant in the Cut.
Did you?
Yes.
Was I one of them?
No.
I think I was.
No, you weren't around.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. I didn't notice.
Exactly, it was me.
Yeah, that's right,
and a very good friend of ours, and also somebody from the formerly from the Breakfast Show.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a very good evening.
It was.
Here's one from Mark. Doubt if you go to Morocco or the other countries, they will be shouting "Porky, Porky," says Mark. I'm not quite sure what he means by that.
Well, I think he means that, I mean, pork itself and pigs and all that are banned in a lot of countries, aren't they? And
Sasha
in the Muslim
says
world.
this, Weatherspoon's CEO has just announced that the lack of scarcity of vegetables will not affect their clients in the slightest.
Well, it won't. I mean, you know, fish can exist without peas. But it's better with peas.
Yeah, but frozen peas are not in shortage. There's no shortage of frozen peas.
You sure?
There's no shortage of peas in a tin. There's
Okay.
no shortage of any kind of vegetables that you basically eat.
Are you sure?
I'm telling you that.
Okay.
And Daniel says
I'm
Thursday nights in Newcastle are full of students, not the working class, as claimed by Porky.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so you got that wrong as well.
Where do students get money from to spend loads on booze? Where do they get it from?
Well, they've all got money.
Well, it's a disgrace. They shouldn't have enough money to spend it
They
on
borrow
booze.
it, don't they? The student loans.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the first time since those student loans were announced, the number of students on an annual basis now applying to universities is going down, thank God.
Well, because they've realised that actually going into debt and studying for 4 years for a job that pays you $12,000 a year isn't really worth doing.
And getting a degree in things like, you know, how to make dresses is rubbish.
No, you see, again, that's yet another tabloid myth.
No,
this is
it's
Talk
not.
Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Loads more coming up, including the Porky Quiz, of course, which is on Texas. I haven't seen the questions yet, but I'm going to say 1 out of 10, just because I feel like being
well, I'm not going to respond to that.
Underplaying it,
Not
even
gonna
though you've been
respond to
studying it for a couple of days, and you've been there many times. Also, we're going to go over to Houston very shortly to talk to Ollie Hunter and to Will Gavin, who are both over there covering the Super Bowl.
That's right.
So they'll be giving us all the atmosphere.
We're
I
over
think
to
they're
them
going to be
shortly, are we?
We are very
That's
soon.
great.
Yeah, in about
Excellent.
10 or 15 minutes' time.
Very pleased.
So we'll get all the atmosphere from Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes.
It's Super Bowl 51, of course. It's going to be great fun. It's going to be great stuff.
Indeed. Now, listen, I saw some stuff today about your old jalopy,
You
your
saw
old
some
wreck.
stuff. Yeah, I got rid of it. I
You got rid of
finally
it?
parted company with it,
Right.
which was quite a poignant
Okay.
moment, actually. Because the
What do
car,
you mean a poignant
quite
moment?
a poignant
It's
moment.
a heap of old junk.
Not true.
That brought you
Incorrect.
nothing but nightmares.
No, it didn't bring me any nightmares.
Yeah.
The car, that car never broke down,
Never
okay?
broke down.
It never had the problems that your car has had, which is brand new, with all
Yes.
of the tyre pressure things and all the times you have to take it a quick
no,
fit and all that.
no,
Yeah,
no.
the only thing that ever happened to it was
Yeah.
it got a couple of punctures a couple of
Yeah,
times, and that was
yeah.
really more
So,
to do with...
which mug has bought it?
I'm not prepared to reveal who's bought it.
Oh, okay.
But I can tell
Well,
you that
because you're ashamed,
the man
obviously.
is not very, very far from a mug because he's the man that used to service the car for me.
Right.
And so he knew that it was such a good car that he wanted it for himself. And he basically made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
How
and
much
he
did you
said,
get for it?
I'm not telling you.
Why not?
Because I don't feel I wish to reveal every single aspect of my life to you.
Oh, it's really
And on
confidential.
live radio.
Selling a wreck of a second-hand car, for thousands.
Well, it's nothing to do with you or indeed anybody else.
It was hundreds, wasn't it?
It was just under 1,000.
Just under 1,000?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Which I thought was a pretty good return,
What are you
considering
going to do with the money?
I bought it for... What do you mean what I'm going to do with the money?
Well, you got 900 quid in your pocket now. I suppose you'll be
Well,
down the casino, will you?
I don't go to
tonight?
casinos.
Yeah.
No, I don't go to casinos. I'll probably spend it on what I normally spend most of my money on,
Yeah.
which is all the dependents that I have, including my daughter, my son, and
yeah.
my 2 sons in Sussex,
Yeah.
And their mother, which is what I spend most of my money on.
Or you might take a wander through Borough Market and buy a load of like food that's exotic and very expensive wine. That's what you normally do when you've got money
Not
in your
really.
pocket. Yes,
Well,
you do.
I don't. Well,
Yes, you do.
make it sound as if I've got money in my pocket, like some guy that's just fallen into
Yeah.
the gutter and discovered
Yeah,
100
yeah.
quid.
Yeah, well-
you know, I quite often have money in my pocket.
Yeah,
I
well-
don't spend it like you do. I don't walk around constantly, as you've once said,
Yes.
with a constant £500 in cash in my pocket,
Yeah.
just in case I need to go and get completely bladderated.
yeah.
You know, I'll be driving down to Sussex this morning. I'll be picking up my children and taking them to school.
Yeah.
I'll then have a bit of a sleep. I will then go and maybe get the car washed, and then I'll go and pick them up from school.
Do we really need to know
So,
about your
well, you've asked what I'm
interesting
doing, and I resent the fact that you're trying to make out that I'm going to go and sort of blow it all in some kind of
No,
mad,
no.
you know, Wolf of Wall Street style spree.
No.
At a casino.
In fact, funny you should say about that, about drink and all that. There was some Labour from Bencher called, what's his name? John Ashworth.
Well, how about the Labour front bench called Diane Abbott? She seems to be in a bit of
Oh,
trouble
yeah,
at the
she's in
moment.
trouble. But this guy Ashworth, he came up with this sob story in the Commons today. You know, it was a committee about, what was it about? About debate on alcohol harm.
Oh, yeah.
Tells a terrible story. His dad was his main carer after his parents were divorced. And
You mean he was his dad's main carer?
No, his dad was the main carer of the two parents. You know, when this man's when John
When his
Ashworth's
grandparents died, you mean?
no.
What are you talking about?
If you would just listen, when John Ashworth's parents
Yeah,
divorced,
right.
the father, not the mother, became the main carer.
Oh, of him?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Is
Sorry.
that difficult to?
No, because I thought you were talking about when he was grown up as opposed to when he was a child.
No,
It's
no.
the way you explain things.
No,
I can't understand it.
It was perfectly simple.
Right.
Anyway, he says, and you know, this is a very sad tale. He says, at the weekends, I would live with him, my dad, and he would spend the whole weekend drunk. It was very typical for him to pick me up from school, but as he was picking me up, he would fall over. It coloured my life. I went through the shame and the embarrassment of having a father who was deep in drink. He said he was always too drunk to buy food or walk me home from school.
Why is he suddenly telling this story?
Well, he's in a debate on alcohol harm in
I
the
see.
House of Commons.
Well,
It's a terrible
well,
thing.
why did his mother not get custody of him?
Well, I don't know. We can't go into that. Now, listen, talking about fashions and all that kind of stuff,
Fashions,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I mentioned something to you yesterday, which I want to expand on now.
Do you not want to talk some more about my feelings about my car?
Well, we've talked all about
No,
that.
we haven't. No, you did the usual Porky scenario where you accused me of being a mercenary, right?
Yes.
You accused me of looking to try and splash my cash
Yes.
all over London
Yes.
just because I happened to get some money for the old car.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I thought it was an opportunity to talk about the things that you think about having when you sell a car.
Yeah.
I know that you, in your past, have only ever sold cars to people when you can stitch them up. You know, whereby you
very unkind.
pretended there was nothing wrong with the engine and
kind.
filled it with soot, or the Vauxhall
It's,
Viva that you
sawdust,
sold
actually.
sawdust
Yes,
to somebody
that's right,
else.
yeah.
You know, not
Yeah.
everybody lives like that.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I agree.
and I was reading a piece by somebody actually about when you get rid of a car, there is a certain poignancy to it because you remember all the memories.
Mike,
you've
that
had
was a heap of
in the
junk
car. No,
that you
but-
bought to get you to work and
No,
back.
it wasn't a heap
It wasn't
of
a
junk.
car that, you
No,
you went on some
not
romantic
true.
adventure in.
It's not a question of romantic adventure. I used to drive my kids around in that car. I've had a dog in
Well,
the
I
car.
wouldn't admit to it.
I've had pictures of the.
It's got holes in the bonnet.
It hasn't got holes in the bonnet.
It has
was
got holes
scraped.
in the
No,
bonnet.
they are not holes. It was scraped by a truck, right, which cut across the bonnet, and I didn't get it fixed because it wasn't worth
The
fixing.
metal shape of the bonnet has been pierced
No,
by the coal truck
incorrect.
that hit you,
That's
and it's
wrong.
and it's pierced
That
the
is
bonnet.
a filthy lie. It's
not
absolute rubbish.
It's not a filthy
it's
lie.
a filthy lie.
See, with junk, it sounded like
I've also used the car to go to some of the Two Mike's shows, which we went to in the past, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of good memories. I'm
Sound-
sorry that you don't have any good memories of any
Sounded-
car that you've been in,
sounded
because you've
like,
only ever been in it on your own.
sounded like a motorbike with the silencer broken off. It was so
Well, this
noisy
guy
and
actually
rackety.
fixed that noise.
Did he?
Anyway,
Yeah.
the fact remains that this guy who's a Mercedes specialist, right,
Oh, yeah.
decided
Well,
that he liked
he'll
the
need
car.
to be a specialist to get
he
that
liked,
fixed.
liked the car so much that he wanted to buy it off me.
You'd better
So
sell
I'm very,
it to a
so I'm very
museum.
happy.
A heap of junk.
Very happy.
Anyway, sorry that you're shedding a few tears for the.
Well, I know that any kind of emotion
absolute
is
old
not something
wreck.
that you like to show
Yeah,
because you have no emotion because you're an empty husk of a man.
I would never even admit to having owned
Yeah, I
that
know.
car, let alone get sentimental about it.
Because you think having a nice car means you're a better man. I've got
well-
news for you, it doesn't.
Well, you say that, but most people will recognise the fact that your car's a symbol of your position in society.
No, well, that's what you think is just a petty bourgeois point of view.
Now, guess what I've discovered reading one of my journals.
What have you discovered?
You won't believe it, but corduroy's on the way back, OK? Now, I would rather die than be seen in a pair of corduroy trousers.
Corduroy trousers.
They are disgraceful.
I used to have corduroy trousers when I was younger.
Well, I hope you haven't got them now.
Funnily enough, I used to have a very tight pair of corduroy trousers when I was about
tight
20.
pair. Why?
Well, because you used to wear tight trousers in those days. It
Oh,
was
really?
sort of-
What,
yeah.
to sort of, expand the shape of your manhood and all this kind of stuff?
No, it
Is
was
that
just
what you're up to?
No, it was just the fashion.
Fashion.
It was the fashion.
Fashion.
There used to be. There were
Fashion.
very wide cords. I mean, the idea of you and fashion having a
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
in the same sentence is ridiculous. But no, I mean, when I was about, we're talking about like late 70s, I suppose.
Well, I bet you looked like a complete jerk.
No, I didn't actually.
I bet you did.
No, I didn't. The fashion was to wear a sort of slightly oversized jacket from Oxfam,
Yeah.
a skinny leather tie, and a pair of very tight trousers.
God, I can't. But have you got a picture of you looking like that?
Probably.
You need
yeah.
to try and find one because it's all
Probably.
a laugh. Because I regard anybody who wears corduroy trousers. If I see somebody come towards me, corduroy trousers, I go into a room and there's somebody with corduroy trousers. I go into a pub and there's somebody standing at the bar with corduroy trousers. Do you know what the immediate signs flash up in my head?
I don't know.
Half bake.
Why?
Well,
have you never been to Fulham?
I would describe.
Have you
somebody...
ever been to Fulham?
Have you
Have you been to the King's Road?
Yeah, of course.
Have you ever been to any bars there? Well, I mean, one of the uniforms of the sort of Hooray Henry types is corduroy.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me.
They wear mustard cords.
No,
they wear red
wouldn't
cords.
surprise me.
All the people that hang around with Prince Harry,
Yeah.
all that crowd
Well,
that you love because they're all members of the royal family and
No,
all wealthy.
I don't know about
you
that.
would love all them.
Let me tell you this, right? What it means to me, corduroy, a person wearing corduroy trousers is a half-baked, muesli-eating, placard-waving,
What?
bearded...
It's bearded.
World,
Well, I agree with that.
World owes me a living layabout.
That's not
That's
true.
what corduroy clothed people are.
No, that's not true.
It is.
No, it's very much country chic for a start. So many people who've got a lot more money than
Country
you
chic.
wear corduroy.
No, I think the people who wear corduroy are falsettos.
Who do you think they are, these people, then? Who do you think they are?
Most people who wear corduroys are...
Corduroys?
Yeah, corduroys are deadbeats, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but what strata of society is it that you're
The
offending
lowest.
now?
The lowest.
So what, do you think these people are unemployed?
A lot of people who wear corduroys are like sort of, massively left-wing protest type people.
No, that's not true.
Squatters wear corduroys.
That's not true.
And by the way, we've had a big problem with squatters in London this week. You see they've taken over a Russian
to be
billionaire's
honest,
house,
to be
25
honest,
million quid house.
I had some sympathy for them, actually, because they
I
took
have
over
no
this
sympathy
guy's...
with squatters.
Well, they took over this guy's house, right? He's a guy who bought this place for
Yeah.
something like 25 million.
That's right.
Right? Didn't bother actually moving into it.
Yeah.
Didn't bother doing anything with it. So all he's doing is effectively
It's his
house
property.
blocking, so that nobody else
It's
can live
his
in it.
property.
And if
Do what he
nobody
wants
else
with it.
if nobody else is living in it, I've got a bit of sympathy for the old anarchists
Well, I'm
who
delighted-
decide to get in there and live there for a
I'm
while.
delighted to see that somebody, and we know not who, sent round a bunch of heavies with masks on and persuaded the
No, they didn't.
squatters to move
They
on.
all moved out, and then they actually came with bailiffs, which is the right way to do it.
Well-
you don't go around, threatening people with masked men.
No, a bunch of heavies did arrive. No idea who. I think they came from an anti-protest movement. But no, the corduroy mob.
No, I think
to
you've got it all wrong on
Oh,
the corduroy
definitely
front.
not, definitely
because
not.
the only people I know in
Yeah.
this day and age that wear corduroys, as I said, are very
Yeah.
much the sort of the home counties, Pippa Middleton types who
I've-
basically wear a lot of it
I've
because
never
it's very
met-
much a country chic. Well, you don't go to places like that.
No, I've never met a decent person in a pair of corduroys. I remember corduroys when I was a student.
Well, that's what I think you're remembering.
as a
You're
tr-
remembering
yeah.
what it was like then.
And as a trainee journalist, and the guys who wore corduroys, and even the girls who wore corduroys, were just hopeless, half-baked,
Well, once again, it's a hopelessly...
protesting type of people.
No, but
you know what I mean?
you've got a very nasty
No.
tone on you tonight, and
No.
I think you're just giving people a hard time for the sake of it. It's ridiculous to make out that anyone who wears anything
Yeah.
is somehow the same as everybody else who wears it.
Oh, corduroys do something to people. They think the world owes them a living, and they're going to, they're going to stake their own agenda in life and all that.
Unlike you.
corduroy people are
Unlike you,
washouts.
corduroy
Washouts.
people.
Yeah, washouts.
Corduroy people. Well, I disagree with you wholeheartedly
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
one, but I've got some more interesting things to tell you after we speak to our guys in Houston who are coming up next. They're going to be telling us all about Super Bowl 51. And Porky's going to be listening intently because you may need to pick up a few tips on the Texas quiz.
Houston, we do not have a problem.
This is Talk Sport.
I wanna hold 'em like they do in Texas, please. Fold 'em, let 'em hit me, raise it, baby, stay with me. I love it. Love game, intuition, play the cards with spades to start. And after he's been hooked, I'll play the one that's on his heart. I'll get him hard, show him what I got.
Do you remember when Talk Sport did a version of this for you?
What?
This.
Why? When? Did they?
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
You don't remember?
I don't even know the
Porky
song.
Face.
Oh, Porky Face.
You don't remember this?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Who
I
sung
have to
this?
dig it out.
Who sung this?
It's Lady Gaga.
Oh, Lady Gaga, that's right.
You don't
I do
listen to
remember.
anything I say.
Yeah, I do remember.
For heaven's sake, Lady Gaga's doing the half-time show at the Super Bowl, one of the most watched live music events of anything that happens throughout the year.
And there is a worry that she may make another political statement about the new President of the United States.
She may well do.
But there's nothing they can do about it.
Well, there isn't really,
No.
unless it's on delay, of course, which we'll
Exactly,
find
yeah.
out whether it is or not. We've now got, with great pleasure, the ability to introduce both Ollie Hunter and Will Gavin, TalkSport's NFL correspondents and hosts of the Gridiron Show, live in Houston. Guys, a very good morning to you.
I enjoyed with great pleasure. That was great.
Oh, absolutely, fellas. Good to have you on
Now,
board.
since there's four of us in this conversation, as it were, we'll have to try and organise this properly
Indeed.
so we don't all talk over each other. Shall we start, first of all, with Ollie, if I may? Ollie, tell us about where you are, exactly what the atmosphere's like a couple of days before.
Well, currently we are watching an NBA game at the Houston Rockets Stadium. They haven't played Rocket Man yet, unfortunately, Mr. Parry. They're playing the Atlanta Hawks. But we're downtown Houston, which is the fourth largest city in the United States. It's a huge city and it's totally been taken over.
Would you mind not
by
giving out any
by
more...
the NFL.
excuse me, Ollie, I just need to interrupt you. You've not been giving any more facts out about Texas, because we've got a Porky Quiz on Texas coming up.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Try and keep off the facts.
It's I'll do some alternative facts.
Yeah, do that.
How's that? It's the sixth largest city in in the United States of America. The Houston Cowboys play here. It's their regular NFL side, but the city's been taken over by the NFL. We're downtown. The atmosphere that was kind of quiet in the first few days of the week, but there are loads and loads of fans, journalists, people here just drinking in everything that the NFL has to offer.
Indeed. Now, Will, it's Mike here, Mike Parry, the Porkmeister, and I want
Welcome
you
to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want you, Will, to explain, please, concisely as you can, the level of competition between these two. For instance, New England Patriots, the Atlanta Falcons. Which one of them has the outstanding record in this competition over the other?
Well, the New England Patriots are the team clearly with the outstanding record, because if they win on Sunday, I'm trying to remember what day of the week it is at this point, if they win on Sunday, then they will become Tom Brady, their quarterback, and Bill Belichick, their head coach, will have both won this competition on 5 separate occasions, making them the winningest quarterback and the winningest head coach, to use an American parlance, which us Brits absolutely hate. So clearly they are the favourites if you're basing it on establishment. And the Atlanta Falcons, they've only been to this game once before. It was 18 years ago. They lost on that occasion. So clearly, if you're going to go based on history and record, it's got to be the New England Patriots. But we have seen teams in recent years. You go back to the Seattle Seahawks 30 years ago when they went up against the Denver Broncos, and everyone thought the Broncos were going to beat them because they had Peyton Manning, they had John Elway as their general manager. They had all the experience, and the Seahawks were a young team, unestablished. They come here for the first time ever in their history, and the Seahawks absolutely battered them. So there is every opportunity. It's an old sport adage, but there is every opportunity that on the night the Atlanta Falcons will come out the victors. And I think the general feeling here amongst the neutrals, whilst most people think the Patriots, because of their established history, because of their experience, are probably the favourites.
Yeah.
I think most of the neutrals here are rooting for the Falcons.
Yeah, well, that they always do for the underdog.
Well,
and we
it's-
might see a bit of history being made.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, and your line's pretty awful, Will, for a second, so I'm trying to fix that. Ollie's going to talk to us. Ollie, I mean, the thing is, that people don't like Tom Brady, do they? I mean, obviously, Patriots fans love him, but he's one of those guys that just, when you look at him, he's sort of the guy that's got everything, and so immediately people just don't like him.
Well, 100%. We had the big controversy a couple of years ago when it was found that most of each team get a load of balls to play with. They get 15 balls. Most of his 15 balls, I think 13 of them, were deflated to make it easier to throw and therefore catch. He wasn't found guilty by the NFL, but he was found guilty by proxy. He was banned for 4 games at the beginning of this year. Also, he's got this kind of a smug look, and he's married to Gisele Bündchen, the Brazilian the Brazilian supermodels. So there's a little bit of envy when it comes to his looks. He's quite a handsome man, but and his home life. But there's a shroud of doubt that hangs over him that clouds his 4-2 record in the Super Bowl because of this suspected cheating. And Bill Belichick, the head coach of the New England Patriots, he's not the most affable person when it comes to press and to media. So all of that really doesn't ingratiate the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, to the normal, regular fans of the NFL. They're rather like the Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson days of American football.
They're too good, in other words.
Indeed. Now, Will, this is obviously the highlight of the season. It's the culmination of the season. But, in fact, a season for these guys in the NFL it's not a very long season. What do they do for the rest of the year?
Well, it's a fascinating point because they say increasingly it is a 365-day year for the NFL, but certainly it's the shortest season in any professional sports, whether in the US or anywhere else. But I'll tell you for nothing, there's a reason for that. It's because over 16 games, how physical, how brutal, how contact-based the sport is. It's very, very rare for a player to get through the season with no sort of injury whatsoever. And there have been talks about expanding the season, including more bye weeks, making it longer. But at the moment, there's just absolutely no desire to do that amongst the NFLPA, the Players Association, because of the potential physical issues with it. So hit the off-season you have beyond this. So in 4 weeks' time, we'll have what's called the Combine. That's where all the teams out of college, out of university, they get together and basically do a 4-day-long workout. They show all their physical skills, whether it's over a 40-yard dash, a leap. It's almost like a one giant sports day, and then it's televised. But also, they meet with all the teams, they're interviewed. We then have the draft beyond that. And then we start summer training camps in June. So, whilst it is a very short competitive season, it's an all-year-round sport. And what the NFL are better at doing than anyone else, pretty much, is creating storylines, finding storylines. And so Deflategate, which Ollie was just talking about, that dominated storylines all of our last off-season and managed to keep NFL in the headlines over active American sports and just kind of showed how dominant it is here in the US.
Well, I was saying earlier on as well, guys, that actually, if you think about it, and it's off the top of my head, so maybe somebody's going to prove me wrong, but as a spectator sport, in a way, it's the fastest growing sport in the UK, isn't it?
Not in a way, 100% it is. In the years since the international series started, it's gone from being the 11th most watched sport on TV to the 5th most watched sport in the UK on TV. Going to sell out 4 games, 85,000 tickets this season. It is hands down the biggest growing sport in the UK. And participation at university level, at school level, at the kind of independent and amateur level is growing exponentially. And I would be surprised if in 5 years' time we don't have a team in the UK.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Now, we've actually got a friend, a former colleague of ours, who we were trying to get hold of earlier in the week, who works for one of the newspapers here. He's been out there since Monday, right? Because the party starts pretty much from a week before the actual game. I mean, it must be a great atmosphere in Houston.
Oh, it really is. What you have is a thing called Radio Row, where the world's media, 6,000 media, descend. Radio, TV, podcast, internet, newspapers, everyone descends on Houston. Loads of players, former players, come to Houston to either sell products or publicize themselves. So there's all of that going on. It's a real like a real media circus. Add to that all the fans of both teams, the fans of the Houston team, the Houston Cowboys, Porky, who are here in Houston itself, and just general American football fans. The whole city has been swept up in this wave of excitement. Downtown has been transformed into a fairground where fans can go and take a field goal from 30, 40, 50 yards if they can, where they can learn how to throw the ball, where they can see a myriad of different things to do with the game of football. It's really brought the town to life, or the city to life.
Great stuff. Well, maybe Porky and I'll come out to the next one and do a two-mic show. Now, I have to let you, both of you, give us a quick prediction. Ollie and Will. Ollie, you first of all. What's your prediction?
My heart says the Falcons. My head says the Patriots, but I'm going to stick with my heart. I'm that kind of guy, the two Mike. I'm going to go 35-29 to the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
Wow, that's very bold. Will, what about yourself?
The Falcons have the best offense. I'm going to say it like that because I'm in America, in all of American football. But I think if you give, as we talked about, if you give Bill Belichick, if you give that experience 2 weeks to watch them, prepare for them, I can't see the Patriots not having the perfect game plan in order to beat this team. And therefore, I'm going to go against Ollie. I'm going to say the Patriots is going to be 28-21.
Lovely.
28-21.
Okay, well,
great stuff.
thank you.
Well, listen, boys, enjoy it. I'm sure you'll have a great time
Indeed.
in Houston. I had a great time whenever I was there, and it's a wonderful city.
Too
wonderful
hot.
state.
Too hot.
Well, not at this time of the year. It's
Oof,
not too bad.
even at this time of
Nah,
year,
not
too
really.
hot for me.
Not really. Well, we'll check on the temperature and tell you what it is.
75, I think it can be.
75 is
Yeah.
absolutely perfect, isn't it?
It's not for me.
75 is too hot for you?
Gets up to 95 at the height of
Well,
summer.
it gets over 100 in the
Yeah, it
summer.
does,
but
yeah.
I mean, at the moment,
Yeah.
I would say 75 Fahrenheit is perfect.
No, thank you.
Perfect weather. Anyway, we've got lots more to do, including
Yeah.
Postman Pork coming up
Yeah.
very soon. Also, the Porky Quiz, of course, on Texas. Porky may have picked up a few facts there from what the boys were saying in Houston. This is Talk Sport.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Postman Pork coming up in the next hour, as well as the Porky Quiz, of course, which is on the Lone Star State.
Yeah.
Steve says, I was going to get Coco to predict the Porky Quiz,
Yes.
but then being accused of being a manipulator or keeping the suspense going. And he sent us a picture of a series of numbers on the floor that he's put out for Coco the Lab.
Oh, okay.
Coco the Lab, you know, who's involved in picking heroes
Yes,
and villains.
indeed I
winners.
do. Indeed I
so
do.
we'll see whether that happens. Becky says, Porky asking questions on American football. Have we found a franchise owner for the Everton Toffees UK expansion team?
Well, you never know, do you? You know, I mean, I can spread my knowledge over a very wide range of subjects, even those that I don't particularly adhere to myself.
Okay. William says, the mad people of California, Millwall, weirdos of Gibraltar, Albania, backpackers, cyclists, corduroy wearers. The list is getting longer and longer, Mr. Parry.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that, you know, I believe that I have to be specific and precise about my feelings on these subjects.
Is that
Simple
right?
as
Yeah.
that,
Andy says, corduroy Stasi up and running, eh? What next? Geography teachers run for cover. Elbow patches will reveal you as pinko subversives. I don't think anybody wears those anymore.
No, I don't think so.
I really don't.
Yeah.
Here's one from Matthew. It says, heads up to Porky, Texas is in America. The question may come up in the Porky Quiz.
Sorry, Texas is in America?
Yes.
Yeah,
well, there's a lot of Texans who would actually prefer it to not be in America.
Well, there are,
because,
yeah.
there's quite a big movement for independence
Oh,
of Texas.
absolutely, and it has been throughout their history.
Yes.
Yes.
But
indeed.
I don't know whether any of those sorts of questions will be coming up.
Yes,
we shall see.
Okay. Well, I'm very interested in all that, of course, because that forms part of the Porky Quiz. You know about this big row that's going on about the revision of business rates?
The revision of business rates? No, not really.
Huge row going on.
Is this what you used to call kind of rates for businesses in towns? And that
Well,
kind of thing?
they call it the business rate because it's a council
But they
tax
used to
on
just
businesses.
be called rates, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's
Because everybody used to get charged rates.
Yeah, that's right. But it's like a council tax, but the charges are based on property values,
Oh, yeah.
and they're reassessed every sort of at random, and they reassess them after about 7 years. And some of the increases being asked on businesses are terrible. I think taxes on business in this country are far too high already. And this is going to put a lot of people out of business.
It's not so much the taxes.
Like corner shops and all that kind of stuff, you know? I think it's a damn disgrace.
Well, you may say that, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's not so much. Well, maybe you should use them more instead of going to these supermarkets and actually
I do.
support your local
I
shopper.
always try to support local
well, you
shops.
don't.
I do.
You bought your bags of spinach from a major supermarket.
Well, that's because I happen to be in that supermarket, but I mean, I don't know any
You bought
small
your
shop.
shoes from a supermarket.
Yeah, but I don't know any small shops that sell spinach, you see.
Well, why don't you start finding them?
Well, why? Well, drive around and pollute the air with my,
no, but
my
I mean,
3.5
for
litre
example,
engine
there
car.
are plenty of places in London
Huh?
you could buy spinach before you
Yeah.
go home. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have to go to a supermarket. That's the whole point.
Well, you don't have to go to supermarkets, but the point is, when you're there, you can. It's a one-stop shop thing, isn't it? Which we all.
Yeah, I
we
know,
all-
but you can't say that you feel bad for the local shop. I mean, I'm not suggesting that I feel the same way.
Yeah.
But if you're going to say I support my local shopkeepers,
Yes.
but you don't actually ever go there and spend any money, then
Yes.
I would suggest a bit of a hypocritical position.
Well, I don't think it's hypocritical at all. I think the point is that you've got convenience shopping, right? It's convenience shopping. And although I do support people who work on their own and try to keep their own business going, like my newsagent, right?
Yeah.
So my newsagent guy, I will not buy papers in supermarkets.
Uh-huh.
If I want a paper, even though supermarkets are closed, I go to him and I buy them off him.
I thought you got them delivered.
I get some delivered, but sometimes when I need other ones, I go to the same guy because I think to myself, well, that industry gave me my start in life. I should back the newspaper industry, and I always do.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter where you buy them. You're still back in the industry if you buy them in a supermarket, aren't you?
Sorry?
You're still back in the industry if you buy them in a
Yeah, but
supermarket.
I want to back the retailer, the guy, the newsagent who used to live and die on his on the sales of his papers.
I can't believe they make much money out of that anymore, to be honest, because the sales are down and you know, the margins are smaller, aren't they? What else do they sell in that shop?
Everything. He's turned it into like a convenience store. You know what I
does
mean?
he sell spinach?
He sells cornflakes. No, he doesn't sell spinach. No.
Nothing fresh.
No, that's right. Listen, do you know what the new most powerful brand in the world is?
The most powerful brand in the world? Well, it used to be Apple at one point, didn't
Yes.
it? Are you saying it's not Apple anymore?
And then, of course, it would have been in years past Coca-Cola and those things.
IBM was always up there, wasn't it?
IBM was always up there. Do you know what it is?
Microsoft
Do you know
and
what it
all
is
that.
now? You won't believe it. It's Lego.
Is it Lego?
Lego is now the world's most powerful brand.
Wow.
Now, how can it be?
Yeah.
It's a child's toy.
Well, it's not really.
So, I mean, at least Apple had a mobile phone.
Yeah.
At least IBM had a computer. At least Coca-Cola, sold drinks to teenage kids in every country in the world.
Well, yeah,
It's
but
amazing.
but the thing about Lego is that they have become a worldwide brand because everybody knows what they are, who they are. Everybody loves the stuff that they do.
Yeah.
And they're a very imaginative company. I mean, one of my sons loves Lego, and he's constantly saving up money to buy another
buy
box
new-
set,
yeah.
which is quite expensive. I mean, they can be as much as 40 quid.
But do they grow out of it eventually? Or are
Yeah.
they left with huge boxes of Lego around the house and all that?
Well, yeah, of course they grow out of it eventually.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I suppose there might be rather like there are people who like railway collections.
Yeah.
There might be grown-ups who
I used
like
to have
Legos.
Lego. I used to have Lego.
Well, I did.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But
I
I,
mean,
could
do you
only
remember-
ever build square things.
Do you remember when, I think was it last Christmas or the Christmas before, in Covent Garden?
Yes.
There was a massive number of Lego structures.
Was
Like,
there?
there was a Lego Father Christmas with a sleigh
Right, okay.
and a reindeer. And, it's become
There's a
become
Lego
thing.
land, isn't there?
There's a Lego
Is that-
land
is
which
that a
is sort
permanent-
of out near
yeah.
Windsor, which is an absolute fortune. I've never been there
Right.
because it's about 90 quid each to go there, right?
You're joking.
It's not cheap.
Well,
it's
it
not
can't be
cheap.
90 quid.
It
It's
is.
supposed to be 90 quid for a family
No,
pass.
no, it's more than that. I mean, you will end up spending about 200 quid or 300 quid if you go to Lego Land for
God.
the day. They've also got Lego shops now. They've just opened one, in fact, in
They have.
Westfield.
They have, yeah.
They've got
Yeah.
one in Leicester Square. They've got one in New York, Rockefeller
Yeah.
Centre.
No,
and the
look-
queues outside, I kid you not, go
really?
on for a half a mile.
Well, it says here the family-owned Danish firm overtook Disney, which was the previous most powerful brand in the world, to seize the top spot thanks to the huge success of the Lego movie.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a Lego
There are
movie.
Lego movies. Yeah, there's Lego Batman.
Is there?
Which the kids all like. They've been
Oh, yeah,
brilliant
here
at
are.
expanding their sort of franchise, really.
Here, it says, and lucrative licensing deals with Star Wars, Harry
Yeah.
Potter, and the Batman franchise.
That's right.
Now, it says the annual Brand Finance Global 500 report said all these factors had reinforced the company's brand strength
Yeah.
among both children and adults for years, if not decades, to come.
Yeah.
Lego was followed in the rankings by, this is amazing, do you know what fell below it? Google,
Yeah.
Nike, Ferrari, and Visa, with former number one Disney dropping to sixth place.
Amazing.
And it says here, the toy maker started life, right, in a small workshop of a carpenter called Ole Kirk Christiansen
Right.
in 1932 and patented its distinctive stud and tube building bricks in 1958. It is still owned wholly by the Christiansen family.
Yes. Well, do you remember when I showed you a little Lego version of us that my son had made?
Yes.
Which I put out. I might just retweet that because, I mean, in your and I day when we had Lego, I mean, you basically could buy those sort of rectangular bases and build a house.
That's right.
They put a couple of windows
That's what I-
in.
that's what I did.
Put a roof on.
Yeah, that's
put a
right.
chimney.
That's what I
but
did.
now you can build the Death Star.
Yeah.
You know, now you
Yeah.
can build almost anything that you can imagine from a
Yes.
Star Wars film. I mean, he builds the most intricate, sort of spaceships.
Yes.
Things which are, big enough to sit in a corner of a room.
Yeah.
I mean, just incredible.
Well,
I wouldn't have the patience for
Do you know
it.
what it says? It says that it's not about the worth of all of the brand and all this kind of stuff. It says that the ranking measure reflects the power of brands according to factors such as customer loyalty.
Yes.
And how often a customer is likely to go back and purchase again through satisfaction.
Because there's nothing else like it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose if you're somebody who's a customer of Apple, you can always decide one day to go and get a Samsung
course
phone
you can.
instead. But if you like Lego,
Yeah.
there isn't really anywhere else to go.
Absolutely.
You can't. I mean, I don't know whether Meccano's still going. but I never thought of Meccano as similar to
Oh, I
Lego.
love I
never had
Meccano.
that.
I
never
love
had it.
Meccano. I built a Meccano helicopter.
Yeah, look,
once.
there's your Lego version of us. Remember?
Oh,
that?
that's right. Yeah, brilliant.
I'm going to retweet that.
That's great. Can you please? Because it's now the most powerful brand in the world.
Yeah.
Also, Google has overtaken Apple in the same report as the world's most valuable brand. Okay?
Yes.
It says, quotes, the rot has now truly set in at the iPhone phone maker, which held the top spot for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's a bit unfair, isn't
Well,
it?
I mean, I think the problem is, as everybody will tell you, since Steve Jobs died,
That's
Apple
right.
have not really been
That's right.
terribly innovative.
It's
they
absolutely
bring
true.
out new products, and they're not that
Yeah.
different from the one before.
Yeah.
They haven't really come out with any great innovation.
It's right.
Since his death.
No,
Unfortunately.
it's absolutely true. It says here, Apple's brand value, which is more dependent on the size and reach of a firm, fell 27% to $85 billion.
Right.
Now, this compares with Google's 24% increase to a net worth of $87 billion.
Yeah.
The report said newer versions of the iPhone had delivered diminishing returns, and people like, funnily enough, who you just mentioned, Samsung, had been catching up.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't think any of those companies are going to be
Yeah.
going bust anytime soon.
No, sure, yeah.
But it is interesting, isn't it, that,
Yeah.
that they don't really produce anything for grown-ups, but I mean, they're so successful. And also because their stuff is very good.
Yeah.
It's quality. It doesn't break. And it's also the sort of thing that, as a parent, you quite like your kids to be involved with.
That's
because
right.
It's a little bit creative.
That's right.
It's better than staring into a screen.
Sure. The other thing is that they've actually given a vote of confidence to London, because Lego is to expand its London office in a move the Danish group say sends a clear signal that the British capital is still central to its future.
Yes.
The toy maker said it will grow its office by more than 50% by taking 2 floors in a building opposite its current UK headquarters.
And also, did they not come out
Don't know
at
where
one
that is,
point?
by the way, do you?
The world headquarters in London.
The Lego headquarters
No,
in London.
I don't
No.
actually. But was there not also a scenario whereby they withdrew their advertising from Associated Newspapers because of some kind of political editorial line that they objected to?
I don't know.
I think that happened. I think a lot of people, how a lot of people now started sort of piling in
Yes,
to advertising and say,
yes,
you
yes.
should stop advertising with this company.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah.
I've got a feeling that Lego actually succumbed to it. And I think they pulled
they?
all their ads. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
But I mean, it was one of those stories that nobody was sure about,
No.
because they were saying, "Oh, well, we're at the end of our advertising cycle."
Exactly.
Blah 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 blah. But being Danish, of course,
Yeah.
they are quite sort of what you might regard as kind of radical.
Yes, that's right,
In terms of the way they run their company,
Yeah.
I think they're a great company. I must say.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, I've tweeted out that picture of
Excellent.
the 2 mics in Lego.
Excellent.
Which I think is quite good fun.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot more to do as well coming
Yes.
up. There's quite a few of these tweets coming in. Owen says this: I thought Mike Parry was a man of the people.
Yeah, I
All he
am.
does is slag people that he thinks aren't better than him.
No.
Hashtag idiots.
No, I just want to maintain standards in society. I don't want to see them slip. It's as simple as that. Okay. That's all you need to know.
And Steve says, well, all I know is that I was trying to be nice. He would only cry gerrymandering, and he's talking, of course, about Coco. He says he's
Yeah.
had to fire Coco.
Yes.
He's taking over.
Yes.
Because I think he's worried that Coco has somehow developed some kind of an affinity
Yes.
towards you in some way.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I see that
And
we've
how
got
about from Matt?
the Lego picture. Yes.
Yeah, Matt says you can tell Mike Parry you can also get an official Lego version of the Beatles' Yellow Submarine.
Can you really?
Maybe I
Yeah.
could buy you that for Christmas. You could build it.
No, thank you. It's very kind of you.
Why
but,
not? It might take you back to your sort of more innocent days
no,
as a young man.
No, it won't. Don't worry.
Yeah, look, there's a picture.
Yes.
Let's see how much it costs, right? Mm-hmm. You want to build a Yellow Submarine?
No, I don't. Thanks. No.
But look how much it costs.
It's £54.99.
$54.99.
And that comes just like a jigsaw, really, does it?
Yeah,
You
it
just put the
comes in
pieces
a
together.
million pieces, and
Yeah,
you
but I
have to build
mean,
it.
but that's not the Lego as I remember it. The Lego as I remember it, you just got a box of Lego.
That's
and you
what I'm
built,
saying.
But it
You
didn't
built
have
a
any
house.
plans. Didn't have any plans. You just built. So that comes with a plan to build a yellow submarine.
Yeah, but
That's
if you-
not quite the same thing.
Well, trust me, if you didn't have the plan,
Yeah.
you would never be able to do it. Because you absolutely have to follow the plan because
Really?
it's so intricate and the pieces are so tiny.
Yeah.
So there we are. So anyway, lots more coming up. Postman Pork will be soon. So I hope you're ready with a few things to unveil
yes.
for the general public.
Oh,
I'll
yes.
give you the address as well. Right now, though, we've got to go and get some news because this is Talk Sport.
Hello, this is Tim Vine on Talk Sport. It's Mike Parry's postbag. I can't wait to see what's in there.
Postman Pork, I eat my chips with just a fork, 'cause then I can still talk.
Still doesn't get any better, that song,
I
does it?
love that
Well, of
intro
course you
music.
do. Of course you do.
People love that theme music. They really do. They stop me in the street, and start singing
Do they?
it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Anyway, let me get the old post bag over.
Yeah, let's get the post
loads
bag open because we've got more and more stuff coming in, I have to say. In fact, we're having to make a bigger space to keep it all in, are we not?
Here we go.
So you got a couple of packages by the looks of things.
Packages, so-
you've got enough implements to open them with?
Yeah.
Do you need a letter opener or anything like that? A pair of scissors?
No,
Sure.
don't worry. Yeah, I've got everything I need here. I've got my implements of torture, so to speak.
Implements of torture.
Yeah,
Well, people are
right.
slightly worried about your predisposition to torture.
No, I haven't.
And stories
don't be
about medieval sort of ways of hurting people.
Well, I tell you what. I tell you what. In the TV review next week, there'll be a bit more on old Taboo.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Dear
All right.
me.
Well, go
right.
on.
Anyway,
Let's have the first one.
Postman Pork. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll open a package first. When I say a package, it's a sturdy letter, okay?
A sturdy letter.
And I can tell from looking at the front, it comes from Edinburgh.
All right.
And it's to Postman Pork,
Yeah.
Talksport Radio, London SC1 8DJ, remember, 18
Yes.
Hatfields, okay? Let's open this one. Open, there you go. Right, here we go. We get inside, and what do I have? Well, believe it or not, it's a picture of the Pope.
Is it?
Yeah.
Picture of the current Pope.
In fact, it's not just a picture of the Pope, it's a postcard. And
Postcard from... It's not from the Pope,
no,
is it?
it's not from the Pope. It's a
be pretty good.
postcard of the Pope.
Right.
So it says printed in Italy.
Yes.
Graphicia Milan Cards Limited.
All right.
And it's got an explanation in 7 different languages on the back. It says, why I chose Francis? Because he embodied poverty.
Yeah.
I want a poor church for poor people. So that's why the current Pope has called himself Papa Francesco.
Okay.
Now, there's a letter with it here.
Okay. There's nothing else on the postcard. There's a blank postcard.
Just blank postcard,
Okay.
yeah. But it says here, Dear Postman Pork, I love to listen to you and your friend MG every night. You are fantastic broadcasters. By the way, can you get ready-made mashed potato in Asda? It is great. I have sent you a photo of the Pope. Do you think he looks mad? This is because we did the story a couple of weeks ago.
There are those in the Vatican.
Yeah, there is.
Who are questioning his,
That's right,
some of his orders of late.
Yeah, that's right, indeed. By the way, Mike, I agree with you about nudists.
Yes.
They should all be put down. We do not advocate
That's
that
not-
here at Talk
that's
Sport.
not the sort of thing we'd want to say,
We cannot. He says they're not good people. And this comes from Karen Harvey.
Yes.
From Forfar.
Forfar.
In Angus, Scotland.
That's right.
And she says, I never knew John was an Evertonian man. John Hurt. I never knew John Hurt was an Evertonian man.
Turns out he wasn't, doesn't it?
Well, we're not sure. But
Well,
anyway.
I mean, Stephen Fry thanked him for all of his hard work for Norwich City.
Indeed.
So, I mean, I
But
don't think he was, actually.
It's very kind, Karen, to send me a picture of the Pope just so we can debate whether or not he looks mad.
Yeah, well, how do you think he looks? Let's have a
well,
look. I can have a look at the picture and see.
Okay, I'll pass this to you.
What's he doing?
But I mean, millions of people have probably bought that in the Vatican City somewhere.
Yeah,
right.
I'll tell you what, I might put a picture out of
Okay.
this and ask people.
Okay, as you can hear
He
now,
looks all right, actually.
we are getting into... Oh, here we go. It's a parcel, and it's addressed to Postman Pork. Postman Pork, Talksport, 18 Hatfields, London. I've told you about that. And it seems to have come from... Well, I can't actually tell, actually. But anyway, I'm breaking into it now. It's very
You can't tell
wrapped.
where it's from or who it's from.
Can't tell either. So, and it's very sturdily wrapped, so I must think something valuable inside. Here we go. Let's get this out. Oh, right. Now then, inside, lots of sort of plastic padding.
Yes.
But
It's a bit of bubble wrap.
Very attractive
Very nice.
black box.
A black box?
A black box.
Wow.
And it says on the back box, L.A. Banús. L.A. Banús.
L.A. Banús?
Banús, L.A. Banús. Well, I'm
Like
not sure
Porto
this is-
Banús, is that?
Well, it's spelt the same as Porto, but it's LA. Right, let me first of all open the black box. See what we've got inside here. Let me see. Oh, crikey. Within the black box,
Within
there's
the
an
black
even
box?
nicer damson-coloured box made of wood.
A wooden damson box.
And I open that.
It's not a watch, is it?
It's a watch.
Is it?
It's a
Because I was going to say, it looks like a watch box.
it's a magnificent watch.
Is it?
I can't believe this.
Well,
I'm
it'll
going to
be-
pass this to MG for verification.
It's not from FIFA, is it?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm just going to open the letter
Wow.
that accompanies it now. This is
L.A.
amazing.
Banús. Very nice.
L.A. Banús,
That's
yeah.
far too nice for you, that.
Well, I mean, it's amazing. I
Yeah,
can't believe
I
it.
don't think you'll want that.
Right, here we go. It says, Dear Porky,
Yeah.
we are big fans of the show and love listening to your podcasts. We know you have a keen interest in watches, and you will know a quality product when you see one.
Yeah.
Please see included an LA Benoist chronograph watch as a thank you for the many years of investigative journalism and for keeping your millions of listeners so entertained. The model we have sent you is the crown jewel in our collection of watches and retails for £220.
Yes.
We'd be extremely proud to see you wearing this and would undoubtedly see a huge spike in sales. Well, it's very kind
Well,
of
this
you,
is
isn't it?
definitely something you will have
Yeah.
to. This is definitely
Yeah.
something you will have to declare to the taxman.
Well, I will indeed.
Because it's clearly a very, very expensive watch, 220 quid.
But there's better news for you.
Oh, yeah.
There's better news. It says, if old MG would like one, right?
Yes.
Now, this is the next line you're not
Yeah.
going to like. We are willing to offer him a 10% discount and free second-class postage.
Well, except the only problem with that particular scenario is that you've already given me the watch and you're never going to see it again.
Well, hang on.
So, cheerio.
And it says here as well...
Good luck getting it back off me.
It says here as well, they're right up to speed, these guys. It says, unfortunately, we will not be able to accept his clapped-out old Mercedes as a deposit.
Yes.
And it says, keep up the good work. Best regards, Chris.
Yeah.
Watches and Gems, L.A. Benoist. Well,
of course.
I can't thank you enough. That's
Well,
so
of course.
kind.
I mean, how many watches have you got?
Well, I've got about 8 or 9 working ones, yeah.
Hang on. Well, you guys told me you had 27.
Oh, I have, but I mean, the ones
did-
actually... No, the
when we-
rotation of the ones I wear on a daily basis.
When we did Watch of the Day.
Oh, yeah, you've still got a
You
load.
know, you had loads. You
Right,
don't need
well,
another watch.
Well, I mean, this is... I'm absolutely mind-blown. Thank you very much indeed.
I mean, this is clearly now turning into you just soliciting gifts.
Not at all.
It's a shocking thing.
Not at all. I wouldn't dream of it.
Absolutely shocking.
Now, let me just find out what's going on here. Here's another one. What's it say on the front? This is from Royal Mail Exeter. So we've got a right old postbag from around the country today.
Very nice.
Now, this says, Dear Mr. Parry, suggestions for improving the FA Cup competition through seeding teams, OK?
Yes.
And then there's about 2 pages of it, so I'll go to the end first. It comes from Adam May, OK?
Adam May what?
Don't be silly. His surname is May.
Oh, his surname is May,
okay.
sorry. Well, it's the way you read it out.
And it says, just to sum it up at the end, he says, I believe the system of properly rewarding the low-ranked clubs for getting to round 3 and the potential reward, should they progress to round 4, should adequately compensate financially for the removal of replays. And so under this proposal, replays would be removed with all 3rd and 4th round ties on the day.
Has he not sent you a watch?
I haven't been sent a watch by Adam.
It's a bit boring, this
He
one.
says, now, Mike, if you agree with what I write and could maybe praise my ramblings and present it during Postman Pork, while possibly fending off the likely inevitable interruptions from Mr. Graham, people notice, you see.
This
People
is the
notice.
way, this is the way you've now gerrymandered Postman Pork.
Yeah.
You've now turned it into a sort of cult of personality.
I would be most grateful.
And I mean that most sincerely.
So basically, they're asking you to keep your gob shut.
So what is it he wants to know?
Well, he wants me to use my influence amongst the football authorities to try and introduce his ideas on seeding.
You worked there for 10 years. You couldn't introduce anything while you were there.
Well,
Which else have you got now?
We've got time for one more, haven't we? So let's get there. And keep them coming, please. You know the address. It's Postman Pork.
Send more watches.
It's that's right. Yeah, it's Talk Sport, which is 18 Hatfields, London SC180J. Right. Here
By the way,
go.
just so that people know, if they wish to go and have a look, I've sent out a picture of the postcard of Papa Francesco.
Oh, well done.
And I've said, here's Pope Francis, thanks to Karen in Forfar.
Yes.
Does he look mad?
That's right. And very shortly, we'll be sending out a picture of me wearing the LA Benoist watch.
Really?
Yes,
what
we
are you
will.
going to do with the other watch? What watch have you got on at the moment?
It's quite cheap. It's a Pulsar, but it's
quite
it's
cheap.
a good one. Yeah, it's a good one.
What do you mean, quite cheap?
Well,
how cheap?
Well, hang on. Let's get to the post first, and I'll tell you about it later. Right. I open this, and immediately it says just a little note to say.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't say what it wants to say, if you see what I mean. Then I turn it over. Thank you. So this is another rather nice communication.
Oh, yeah.
And then I open the accompanying. Oh, there's 2 more cards.
Right.
I mean, it's 3 cards altogether.
Wow.
But the first one says.
They look handmade.
Yes, just a little note to say thank you. Right, so let's get through this quickly. Right, dear Mike, this is from Sue.
Sue,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Dear Mike, and Mike, but particularly Postman Pork, okay?
Yes.
So it's to the both of us, but it is via...
Mike and Postman Pork,
Via
as if
Postman
Postman Pork is in fact a separate entity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it says, I've been meaning to write for some time, and I finally got round to it. I haven't included my address as me and my hubby are quite private people.
Quite right.
But I just had to write to say a huge thank you to you both. Back in December 2015, my husband was recovering from an operation to remove a cancerous tumour. Very unfortunate that, and I hope it went well. The op was successful, so that's good news.
Excellent.
And he made a full recovery.
Good.
But after his op, we used to record your early morning show and listen to it during Tuesday. During the day. a huge relief to be able to laugh together and enjoy the lighter side of life thanks to you too.
Isn't that nice?
Yes, it got us through some difficult times, and we still listen to your show now, obviously. So thank you, Mikes, for a great show.
So gift?
And for no gift, no.
No gift?
No, I don't want a gift. For continuously bringing plenty of smiles and laughter into our lives. It says, Sue, P.S. sorry, this jiffy bag wasn't big enough to send you a box of wine. Well, that's okay.
Box of wine.
Send a separate box of wine, Sue, and that will be forgiven. No, I'm only joking, my dear.
What about the 3 cards, though?
Well, the 3 cards, the first one says just a little note to say thank you.
Right.
And then the other 2 cards are just thank you cards, but she couldn't get it all on one, Sue, so she brought 2.
So what, she's written it in one card and it follows into another?
And follows onto like a second page as a second card.
Before.
No, well, I mean, that's really ever so kind, and thank you very much indeed. We haven't got time for any more now.
Is that it?
But please keep them coming, and we will, obviously select the best.
Send more watches.
No, he's only envious and jealous.
No, I don't want them.
I've
got 2 very nice watches.
It's very, very kind of you. Thank you very much
indeed. I've got 2 lovely watches.
How lovely.
I'm perfectly capable of... I've only got 2 arms.
How lovely.
So, I mean, what would be the point of having more than 2?
Very nice.
Unless you want to put one on your ankle.
Very nice.
This is Talk Sport.
Thank you.
Postman Pork, I eat my chips with just a fork, 'cause then I can still talk.
Every day it's getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, hey. Every day it's getting faster. Everyone says
Now, something must have gotten wrong because that's Buddy Holly.
That is Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not Porky Quiz time yet.
Right, what's this?
Have you been talking to people?
No, what's the title of this song?
Huh?
What's the title of this song?
What do you think it is?
Buddy Holly.
It's every day, isn't it?
Every day?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's the connection?
Well, Buddy Holly's from Texas.
Is he from Texas?
Did you not know that?
No, I didn't know that, no.
And I don't know whether that's going to come up in the quiz.
No, well, I've no idea. I don't know. And I didn't know. No,
let's hope it doesn't.
No, I haven't spoken to anybody, believe me.
Okay.
I don't do that sort of thing.
No, I'm about to send out a picture of you with your new watch.
Right, that's brilliant. Do, please.
Which is going out very shortly. I have previously just sent out a picture as well of the Pope Francis postcard that was sent in from Karen in full file. I don't unfortunately have a Twitter address for her, so if you've got one, by all means do send it in so that we can attach that to the other picture.
Indeed, yeah, we certainly will. Okay.
Yeah. So don't you think it's a slightly seedy side now to Postman Pork? You're just kind of welcoming people's presents that are being sent to you. That's not meant to be the point.
I never.
It's meant to be people sending you kind of thoughts, ideas, possibly
we'll get a lot of those as well.
You seem to be only opening the things that involve getting gifts for yourself.
No, not at all. I mean, I have invited people to communicate with us through the post bag of Postman Pork, okay? There are no restrictions on what form of communication you want to include or anything like that, and I'm not going to put anybody off by saying don't send presents if I mean, these things
No, but there will genuinely be a point at which you will have to declare it all to your accountant, and you have to take account of it in terms of, tax
I'm very happy
exposure.
to do that. Very happy to do that. Don't worry about that. That's
I'm not worried about
it at all, because I just don't want to put people off. There are no rules. That's the point.
Right.
Once you start making rules, it all goes wrong.
Okay.
Talking about rules, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you ever come across Nancy Dell'Olio?
Pardon?
Nancy Dell'Olio.
Well, you knew her, didn't you?
Yeah, I did know, yeah.
I don't think I've ever met her. Actually, I tell a lie. I think she came to one of our Pride of Britain things.
Right, okay, yeah.
But I don't believe I ever spoke to her.
Yeah.
Because it was quite a big room.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
At the time. Very glamorous woman.
Extremely glamorous woman and very suave, and of course she was the girlfriend of Sven Göran Eriksson.
Indeed.
Göran Eriksson, Sven Göran
Calls herself a
Eriksson.
lawyer as well, doesn't she?
Well, she never seems to have practiced law in this country, but that doesn't mean to say that she hasn't practiced law before. She says she's law, then she's a lawyer.
Do you know what she'd be great in? And maybe you should watch this with Porky Vision. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Have you ever seen Montalbano?
What?
Montalbano. Have you ever seen that?
No, what's that?
It's a really, really funny and good police show, which is all about Sicily.
Yeah.
And it's on BBC 4.
Oh.
Usually, I think, on a Saturday night.
Right.
It's subtitled, so, I mean, it takes a bit of following. But it's very, very good. And at the moment, they've got young Montalbano.
Yeah.
But she's just got this look where she would fit perfectly into that kind of scene.
Okay. Anyway, the reason I say is Ms. Dell'Olio does think an awful lot of herself. And nobody, I don't think, really knows her true age. She seems to have been 55 quite a long time.
Well, that's the bit
she
like
was 45
your good
for a
self,
long
isn't it?
time. Well, no, not really.
Nobody really knows your true
Not
age
really.
either.
But anyway, the reason I bring this up is that I came across some information, and that is that she actually has 3 passports.
Really?
She has an Italian passport,
Yeah.
a Swiss passport,
Yeah.
an American passport.
Oh, right.
Now,
Maybe that will change under Mr. Trump.
well, I was about to say, President Trump is in real trouble, and do you know why?
Go on, why?
She says, I am thinking of relinquishing my US passport.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't suppose he'd be too worried about that.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, when Nancy Delolio says she's
Wouldn't that unfortunately cut her off from the possibility of meeting any rich American millionaires?
well, a lot of them get around the world anyway. They have
suppose so.
yachts in the south of France and all that kind of stuff, which
Yeah.
is the sort of circle she moves in.
Yeah.
But I met her 2 or 3 times, sometimes after England games, okay?
Right.
Because England were on the road then, and
So would she be sort of generally treated as a VIP as his girlfriend? How would that work?
yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely how she was treated.
But I mean, would you have to organise cars for her and all that?
Yeah, all that kind of
Really?
stuff. She also was sort of like a sort of mother hen to the wags, you know what I mean?
Was
to
she?
to the
How did they get on with that? Did they like that?
Yeah, they quite liked that. Yeah, because
Really?
she's very sophisticated.
Yeah.
They all had aspirations of having her sort of glamour and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on a couple of occasions, I thought I might be going out for dinner with her. Because
What, just you and her?
yeah, because she often had nothing to do after a game. If
That's charming, isn't it?
What do you
I've got
mean?
nothing better to do, so I'll take
Well-
Porky out for dinner.
Well, no. You see, if you understand what I'm saying, you know, sometimes England play 2 games in 4 days because they're 2 qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
And it means after the first one, they can't go home or anything like that. They pack up and they get on a plane and they fly to where the second game
Yeah.
is. Well, Nancy would be left behind
Yeah.
because she wouldn't go with them. And a couple of occasions, I think it was in Manchester actually. It's certainly a game at Old Trafford. I thought I might end up having dinner with her, but it wasn't the way the day worked out. I
so
got
you
too
weren't able
bladerated.
to do that. Well,
No.
that's not good, is it?
No, it's not
I
good.
can't imagine that she would look upon
Yeah.
you as someone that she would wish to be seen out in public with, though.
What?
You? Well, because I
Why
mean,
not?
she's a very elegant woman.
Yeah.
Sven dressed very elegantly
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And with the best will in the world, that's not how you dress. It's not your image, is it?
That's a bit harsh. Anyway, the point is, it all went wrong with Sven in the end, but she did at least occupy for quite a long time the Regent's Park apartment that he'd rented for 3 or 4 years.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Which part of Regent's Park was it in? Was it on sort of the Marylebone Road
Yes,
side?
it was. It was the junction of.
Oh, right.
You know where Regent's Park tube station
I
is?
do,
It's,
yeah.
It was near there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And so, she...
Very nice.
She fought for it. And look, I hope she's still having a great life. Still lives in this country. And it would be nice to see her around a
Is
bit
she
more.
not now going out with some other multi-millionaire?
Probably, but I don't know who he is. But
Yeah.
anyway, I just thought I'd mention that to you because she was around at the time.
Yeah. Tom
Yes.
says this, Parry, those watches are expensive. Stop talking about your money. And then he says, just saying.
No, I'm not talking about it. It was very
Mark
nice.
says
gesture,
Porky
thank
should
you.
donate that watch to a worthy cause or he will start calling him FIFA Porky.
Well, I totally agree. I mean, Greg Dyke gave his back, didn't
Yeah.
he? So,
Well, you may have to do that. It may be the pressure may be put on you for that.
Indeed.
Andy says Pope Frank is a top fella. Less bikers than John Paul. Is Porky going to be lobbying for a Pope George Ringo at some point?
I don't think so, to be honest. Now, listen. We kind of touched on Johnny Depp's wine.
Yes, we didn't
expenditure.
really get into that, did we?
I've got the full list now.
Have you?
I thought, well, that's interesting. How much money has Johnny?
Was it
Johnny Depp got?
30,000 a month? Did you say?
30,000 a month on wine, right?
That's a lot of wine.
Yeah, but
Wine, I suppose he's not buying £5 Pinot Grigio from Tesco.
No, he's not. He's not. However, all this had to be revealed, right? Because what happened was he's in some sort of court case. What was it? Depp is suing his ex-managers. Get this,
Right.
for £20 million, which he says they've mismanaged of his earnings.
Right.
But due to this case, his excesses have been revealed in a counter-lawsuit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court by the management group, TMG, on Tuesday, with the firm describing him as a voracious spender.
Yes.
And they gave a list. This is the list,
Well,
okay?
he's just given $7 million to Amber Heard, hasn't he?
I'm not sure about that. Is that
You know, the woman
his
he split up
ex-wife?
with, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But it says here, during the time these people managed him, he spent £14.3 million on a yacht, which isn't a lot for a yacht, really, is it?
Well, not really, no.
150-foot yacht.
Yeah.
£8 million on works of art.
Yeah.
£3.2 million on launching a record label, which failed and closed.
Yeah. But I mean, his annual income is tens of millions of pounds.
Well, he's got a £200 million fortune,
Yeah, exactly.
apparently.
Yeah.
And he can do a film now for 40 million and all this kind of stuff.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's a bit like somebody who's on, I don't know, 40,000 a year, spending a couple of £100 on something.
I know, but it's still extraordinary amounts of money. Now, get this one. £2.4 million to blast Hunter S. Thompson's ashes out of a cannon into space. 2.4 million.
Whatever turns you on, I
Can you
suppose.
imagine wasting £2.4 million?
Yeah, but it's all relative. That's
Who was
my
Hunter
point.
S. Thompson?
Who was Hunter S. Thompson?
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Yeah, wasn't he some sort of guru?
He was a gonzo journalist. Have you never read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
No.
Really?
So, yeah, but did he start some cult or something?
No, he was just kind of one of the original libertarians. I mean, he took a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
He was into guns in a big way. He lived on this massive ranch out in Colorado.
Yeah.
Played a bit of golf.
So why would he want
In fact, Bill Burrows, our old mate,
Oh, yes.
right? He once played golf with Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh, you're right, okay.
And they were all on acid.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, all of them, including Bill?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What a way to play golf.
I actually first came across Hunter S. Thompson when I first moved to America.
Yeah.
And do you remember the Roxanne Pulitzer trial?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Which was down in Florida.
Yes.
Which was an incredibly
It was, yeah.
colourful trial.
And
about
debauchery.
The Pulitzer family.
That's right, yeah.
She was thought to be a sort of, shall we say, a girl about town.
Yeah.
And her husband was this much older guy.
Yes.
Who had the Pulitzer fortune.
Yes.
And it was all sex and drugs and rock and roll and all
That's
that.
right.
Hunter S. Thompson covered it for Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And wrote these incredible sort of dispatches from West Palm Beach.
Really? Yeah.
About, you know, the horrible underbelly and the seedy underbelly
Yes.
of society down there. It was brilliant.
Yes.
Very, very good. And there's a movie from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Is there?
Which actually isn't that great, but Johnny Depp's in it.
Well, OK. Well, Johnny Depp spent £2.4 million to get some sort of cannon to blast his ashes
I
into
could blast
space.
your ashes out into sort of the River Thames
That'd
for a
be
lot
great.
less.
That'd be great if you could, please. Yeah.
From the Tower of London, maybe.
That's right. Now, with his properties around the world and his yacht and all that, he has a permanent retinue of 40 people, which costs him $238,000 a month.
238,000 a month.
Yeah.
Mind boggles.
And this is for people who look after homes he doesn't live in and yachts that he doesn't sail around in. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
He spends $159,000 a month on private planes, which again doesn't sound like a lot to me, really.
Well, I mean, I suppose he's probably the sort of guy that keeps one on call.
Yeah, I see what you
wherever
mean.
he is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Well, he flew in with his dogs, didn't he, down to Australia, and the dogs got
That's right.
the dogs got
that's,
impounded.
That's right. And they made that sort of mealy-mouthed apology, didn't they, to the Australians?
That's right.
He spends $120,000 a month on round-the-clock security. So again, this is for his properties
Well, he
where
probably
he
needs
doesn't
that.
live.
Yeah.
And then, as we said last night,
Does it say what sort of wine he buys?
not really. It says $23,800 a month on buying wine.
He's probably laying quite a lot of that down, right? I mean, he's probably buying like stuff that's just to be drunk in 10 years.
Yeah, he's got a 45-acre chateau in France, right? He's so wealthy that he doesn't pay his taxes on time, and last year was fined £4.5 million in penalties for being late in paying his
that's just
taxes.
stupid, isn't it?
Although he went on to pay him, you know?
That's just daft.
Just amazing amounts of money.
Shocking.
Amazing.
Absolutely shocking amounts of money,
Yeah.
even richer than you are.
Yeah.
Staggering. Anyway, coming up, you'll be pleased to know, it's time for the Porky Quiz on Texas.
Indeed.
That's quite a nice song, that, isn't it?
It's a very nice song.
Yeah. Charlene Spiteri and Texas.
Charlene Pisteri is the lead singer of Texas.
Spiteri.
Spiteri.
Yeah.
Spiteri.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll tell you a good story about her another time.
Okay.
But not right now.
Oh,
though.
really?
Yeah.
Do you have personal contact with this lady in sometime in the past?
I don't mean that kind of story.
Oh,
I
I
just mean a good
see.
story about it. Now, you have selected the subject matter for the quiz
Yes.
to be Texas.
Yes.
Known as the Lone Star State.
Lone Star State.
If you get a correct answer,
Yeah.
you will hear this sound.
Right. Yeah, right.
If you get an incorrect
Sounds
answer,
like Laredo.
if you get an incorrect answer, you will hear this.
Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, yeah, that's
Which
Tom
I
Hanks.
guess it's pretty good, isn't it?
That's right. Very good.
You've already given
Excellent.
more answers than you've been asked for. Are you ready? There are 10 questions.
Yes.
Each with one correct answer only.
Okay.
You will not get any extra points for coming up with information which is not required.
Okay.
Is your situation set?
My situation is set.
Okay. Now, you haven't got any aids there or anything, have you? People have been saying you're sounding a little bit confident,
no,
like
no,
the sort
no,
of
no.
dark arts at work.
No, I always feel confident. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Question number 1.
Yes.
Who is the governor of Texas?
The governor of Texas is a guy who's in a wheelchair, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All I've got is a name.
Yeah. And I think his name is... And he's in a wheelchair because he was out running, jogging, and a tree fell on him.
A tree fell on him?
Tree fell on him. And he got a $10 million settlement, right? And his name is Greg Abbott.
Correct.
Thank you! Woo, woo, woo! What about that? What about that for a start?
Now,
what about that?
You will have heard young Mr. Ollie Hunter telling you the name of one of the NBA teams in Texas.
Yes.
Can you name one of the other two?
I can name you the... right. There's the Dallas Cowboys, obviously. And there is the Houston Texans. I'm thinking aloud.
Is that your answer?
I'm thinking aloud.
Is that your answer?
We all know the Dallas Cowboys because J.R. Ewing had a private box in their stadium, even though J.R. Ewing doesn't exist, obviously. But thinking aloud, it's Dallas Cowboys and... Now, thinking aloud
You
here...
need one other team.
Thinking aloud, I was thinking about Houston Oilers because the oil industry and that kind of stuff, but I think that is not the NFL team. I'm going to stick with my original thought, thinking aloud, the Houston Texans.
Incorrect.
No!
Houston, we have a problem.
You could have had the Dallas Mavericks. You could have had the San Antonio Spurs.
What about the Houston Texans?
There's no such team as the Houston
There is.
Texans. No.
There is.
The Houston Rockets was the team that Ollie told you about.
No.
I was looking for the names of
No.
one of the other two.
No, the Houston Texans are the only NFL team never to have got to a Super Bowl.
I didn't ask you about the NFL. I asked you about the NBA.
Oh,
NBA.
Well, I gave you the football team.
Well,
what did you want?
Well, I said NBA.
NBA?
NBA.
What's NBA got to do with the
basketball.
Super Bowl weekend?
Well, it's nothing. It's got to do with Texas.
Well, I didn't even know you were talking about basketball, you idiot.
Well,
I thought you were talking about football
teams. I said NBA
teams.
very clearly.
It didn't register with me.
Well, I'm sorry it didn't register with you. I'm not responsible for what you hear.
The whole focal point of this is the Super Bowl,
no, it's
you
not.
idiot.
I asked you if you wanted questions on the Super Bowl. You said no. You asked for questions on Texas. This is what you're getting.
Despicable cheating.
Question number 3. What is the state's official fish?
State's official fish?
Yes.
What? You mean for Texas?
Yes.
Texas fish?
Yeah.
Texas fish. I reckon the Texas fish, because there's plenty of coastline on Texas. It's Mexico, isn't it? The Gulf of Mexico.
I can't give you any clues.
Hang on. I'm thinking aloud here. I reckon the official fish of Texas is the yellow rose of Texas. No, it's
not a fish.
No, I know it's not. I think I think the official fish is the. Without a shadow of a doubt, I believe it to be the pike.
Incorrect.
No.
Houston, we have a problem.
What's the
Pike's a
problem?
freshwater fish.
Well, there's a lot of fresh water in Texas.
Well, there is, yeah. It is actually the Guadalupe bass.
Oh, well.
No.
You know,
Question
everybody
number
knows
4.
that, don't they?
Question number 4.
What's Guadalupe got to do with Texas?
Well, it's not far away.
Yeah.
Question
See,
number 4.
once again, I get the first question right, and then, the alternative list of questions come in.
You can make as much noise
Right.
as you like. You don't
Go
know
on.
just between the NBA and the NFL. Question number 4.
Yeah.
Texas borders 4 Mexican states.
Yeah.
Can you name one of them?
4 Mexican states?
Correct.
You mean like states that are in Mexico?
That's right.
Not US states?
No.
Well, I know the US states. Right, I tell you what, Texas is surrounded by Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and New Mexico.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
And Mexico, of course.
And Mexico
Yeah.
itself,
So
yes.
you need one of the states of Mexico, which borders it.
I think it's called, thinking aloud here, I think it's called OCA. I think it's called like OCCA. Well, that's the abbreviation, Okanama or something like that, you know what I mean?
We'll have to hurry you because we're already behind.
Yeah, this is a really bomb question because...
Well, you know about Texas.
Nobody knows.
Geographical
Yeah, but this is about Texas. It's not about Mexico.
You've been
And this is
studying
a
it for
question
2
about
days.
Mexico.
You've been studying it for 2 days.
I'm going to say Okarama.
Incorrect.
No.
Houston, we have a problem.
No.
Okarama. You could have had Tamaulipas. You could have had Nueva Leon. You could have had Coahuila. Or you could have had Chihuahua.
Ridiculous question.
All right, question
Ridiculous.
number 5.
That's about Mexico. It's not about Texas.
No, it's about Texas.
What a wasted opportunity.
Texas
Just ask me a
borders
proper question.
Mexico. Question number 5. We're halfway through.
Yeah.
Can you have a listen to this song, please?
I was born in Louisiana, down on the old bayou. Raised on shrimps and catfish, mammy's good.
I do like a bit of country.
I got the rambling fever since by the mall in fall.
Actually, I'm thinking of taking up line dancing.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, that's me.
Have a
A
listen to
sensible
this.
question. Right. What?
That's the bit you're supposed to listen to.
Sorry, what's the question?
The question is, who's the band?
The band?
Yeah,
Well,
who's the band?
Some country and western outfit, isn't it?
Well, you're doing a quiz on Texas.
Well,
you might have looked up that.
I've never listened to a country and
The
western
song
band in
is
my
called
life.
Miles and Miles of Texas.
Yeah.
Very famous song.
Oh, is it really? Yeah. Well, it wasn't. It's not Glenn Miller. I can tell you that.
Glenn Miller.
It's not Glenn Miller.
Okay. I'll have to hurry you.
Well, okay. Is it the? Oh, I know it could be the Dixie Chicks.
Incorrect.
No,
that's a female band. That was clearly a man singing. It's called Asleep at the Wheel. Very famous band from Texas.
Oh yes.
Number 6.
Really famous. Yeah.
You have 1 out of 5
Nearly as
so
famous
far.
as J.R. Ewing.
Question
yeah.
number 6. When was the Super Bowl last held in Houston? There's a Super Bowl question for you. You asked for one.
When was the Super Bowl last held in Houston? What's the year today? It's 2017. I think it was last held in Houston in 2011.
Incorrect.
No!
Houston, we have a problem.
It was 2004. Funnily enough, when the New England Patriots defeated the Carolina Panthers 32-29. Question number 7.
Yeah.
Where was Texas's famous son Larry Hagman born?
Larry Hagman.
Where was he born?
Texas.
I'm looking for the name of a town.
Oh, I see.
I mean, he is your hero, isn't he, after all?
Well, thinking aloud, now it could be some good cities in Texas. There's Laredo, Austin. There's one called Plano, right?
Plano?
Well, I thought it was piano, and then I realised it was
Plano.
Plano, yeah. There's also obviously Houston. And the San Antonio.
Well, we mentioned the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah. Right. So Larry Hagman was born, in fact, in Dallas.
Incorrect.
No.
Houston, we have a problem.
He was born in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth. Well, Fort Worth, Dallas is the same town.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's two different
Dallas,
towns.
Fort Worth.
Dallas-Fort Worth Airport.
Dallas-Fort Worth. They're connected by the road. They're the same.
Yeah.
It's the same city at the end of different ends of a road.
No, it's called Dallas-Fort Worth Airport because it's in the middle of two different places.
Oh.
Question number 8.
Yes.
Who were the co-commanders of the Texan garrison at the Alamo?
What?
Who were the co-commanders of the Texan garrison at the Alamo? You're an expert in historical battles.
The Alamo didn't happen in Texas.
Who were the co-commanders of the Texan garrison at the Alamo?
The Alamo didn't happen in Texas.
Well, it's the question
Happened
I've
in
got.
New Mexico.
The question I've got for you is who
It's irrelevant.
were the Texans? Who were the co-commanders of the Texan garrison at the Alamo?
Well,
surely about Texas. It was about the Texas Revolution.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not. It wasn't about the Texas Revolution.
It is
at
about
all.
the Texas
It
Revolution.
wasn't. The Alamo never happened in Texas. I've told you.
It's about the Texas Revolution.
No, it's not, honestly.
Well, it is, honestly.
Anyway, you want to know who the two what?
Yes.
Two commanders?
The two commanders, yes.
Right. I know the answer to this anyway. The two commanders were thinking aloud. They were Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett.
That's not correct, but I can give you half a point for that. I'll give you half a point for Jim Bowie.
Oi!
The other person involved was William B. Travis.
William B. Travis.
Question number 9.
See, I knew that, even though I hadn't studied it. Yeah,
well, it also was in Texas. I've just double-checked that.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
No.
it was. It was in what is now San Antonio. Question number 9.
Yes.
Have a listen to this piece.
Janis Joplin.
What is the name of the song?
The Texas Rose.
Incorrect.
No.
Houston, we have a problem.
It is Me and Bobby McGee.
Me and Bobby McGee.
Question number 10.
Yeah.
What is the telephone area code for Austin, the state capital?
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
What do you mean?
Am I supposed to know the telephone code of every city in the United
What's the
States?
telephone area code for New York City?
212.
Thank you. What's the telephone code for Washington, D.C.?
Washington, D.C.
Come on, you lived there.
I know. 213?
202.
202, that's right.
213's L.A.
213's LA, that's right, yeah.
Come on. I mean, you went to Texas loads of times.
Yeah. I've been to Austin loads of times.
What about New Jersey? What's the telephone area code for that?
217?
201.
201, is it? Yeah.
What's Long Island?
Long Island.
You sure you worked there?
Yeah.
Did you ever call anyone?
Yeah, probably.
516 is Long Island.
Yeah, but the problem is, when you ring numbers these days, you don't know the number you're ringing because they're all on
When was the last time
call.
you called somebody in Austin?
A long time ago.
Right.
Right, Austin, Texas.
I have to hurry you.
Is 225.
Incorrect.
No.
We have a problem.
It's 512.
512. Well,
So
I
I'm
knew I
afraid-
knew there was a 5 in it, didn't I?
I'm afraid
It's a
your
5.
grand total is slightly more than I suspected you'd get. 1.5 out of 10.
No.
Absolute shambles.
They were dreadful questions.
This
I
is-
mean, why didn't you ask me about, things that happen in Texas? Like, for instance...
Like the Alamo.
No, in 18...
Like the Super Bowl?
In 1848, they became the 28th state of the United States of America.
No, I don't
In
set the
1861, they ceded to the Confederate side, OK?
OK.
In 1901, Spinney Hill Mountain was discovered.
Was it?
The world's biggest, at the time, oil well.
Well, you're the world's biggest plank. You
hang
studied
on.
for 2 days, you got 1.5
Why
out of
didn't you
10.
ask me questions about things that are relevant to Texas, okay?
I did. They
For
were all
instance,
relevant.
go on, ask me this.
What?
Why didn't you ask me this?
What
size is Texas in relation to Europe? And I'd have told you it's the same size as Germany.
What?
Right? Oh, sorry, it's twice the size as Germany. It's twice the size of Germany and the same size as France.
Right. So
why
France
didn't
is
you
twice. It's France twice the size of Germany.
No.
Well, how does that work then?
Texas is 80% the size of...
I don't think you know the answer.
No, France is 80% the size of... Yes, this is right,
No, I
Texas.
don't think you know this.
And Germany is half the size of Texas.
How many people live there?
In Texas...
Yeah.
258,000. No, hang on. Sorry, that's square miles. Have
you got all this written on your hand?
No.
You're going to the wrong answer.
No.
Come on.
258,000 square miles is the area of Texas.
It's smaller than Surrey.
No, it's not. No. People, I know how many people live there.
How many?
It's the second most populous state.
Is it?
After...
Come on, I mean, we haven't got any more time
It's
for
the
this.
second biggest area after Alaska.
Yeah.
And the second most populous state after California.
How many people live there?
How many people?
Yeah.
2.2 million.
Incorrect.
No.
It's 27 million.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's
it
nothing
is.
like
Of course
27
it
million.
is.
Oh, it is, actually.
How many
it
people
is,
do you think live in America?
No, that's right. That's right.
Anyway,
It
we
is.
haven't got any more time. That
27
was the
million.
Porky Quiz. What a
Oh,
shambles.
blimey. I don't know.
It's a wonderful night, you gotta take it from me. It's a wonderful night, come on and break it on down. It's a wonderful night, you gotta shake it from me. It's a wonderful night, come on and break it on down.
Some serious disappointment going on out there in Porky Land. People are very, very disappointed. How about this one from Glenn? Are useless getting the NBA and the NFL mixed up? Is he starting his own team, the Portsmouth Planktons?
Well, I tell you what, I've had a few messages here saying, isn't it strange? The minute I got the first question right, and it was a really, really tough question about the governor.
Well, it's not really tough, is it? If you know about the politics of Texas.
Yeah. So the minute I get that right, all the questions then become obtuse, warped, difficult, and irrelevant.
I wouldn't say that. How about this from Becky?
What? You think
Well,
questions
hang
about
on.
the geography of Mexico is relevant?
Well, it's not about the question was about the border of Texas.
Rubbish.
Right? NBA, Mexico, country music, Alamo. What's that got to do with Texas?
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
shocker from
Yeah.
J.R. Porkmeister.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The third.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Dave Sperry says, how could the Porkmeister think the Alamo was in New Mexico? This
Yeah.
is a quiz about Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, poor
Exactly.
old Coco the dog is in tears, apparently.
Tears? Well,
Yeah.
tears of despair
I don't know.
at the frustration of the gerrymandering that's clearly been going on.
Andrew says, I'm so frustrated with Porky at the
Yeah.
moment. I was screaming out Joplin and Bobby McGee once the song began.
Well, that's not much good because
And
I
I'm
can't
way
hear you
behind,
from there.
And I'm way behind her time. Well, everybody knows that song.
yeah.
But he adds that Plano is near Dallas, just south of Dallas, and it's the heroin capital of the country at the moment, apparently.
Plano.
Yeah, Plano, whatever.
Well, I thought it was called piano to start off with, and I thought you were going to ask me a question about which town in Texas is named after a musical instrument. So I boned up on that one.
Did you?
And I spent half an hour studying all about the town to
think
find
the
out
thing
it was
is that-
called piano, not piano.
Yeah, I think the thing is
Yeah.
that you're maybe overthinking these quizzes. I mean, you should
Yeah.
be trying to anticipate the questions. You should just be learning about Dallas and
Well-
about Houston and about Texas and about Texas
Well,
music.
I've already told you about all the information I know about Texas, which you didn't ask me about again.
Well, I don't set the questions. All I do is I read them out. I keep telling you that. It's
I
got
don't
nothing to do
believe
with
it.
me.
I believe you. I believe they're in your pay. I believe
here's one from
the
Ian.
so-called independent quizmasters
Not at
in
all.
your pay.
Absolutely not. Ian in Shenzhen. I mean, you're the one that's getting bribes coming in through the post.
Yeah.
I love how Porky indignantly tells us everything he knows but gets it all wrong. I'm laughing my head off.
Oh, really?
And
well,
Scottish says, what a plank. How many people in Texas? First it's 250,000,
Yeah.
then it's 2 million.
yeah.
He says there are 1.3 million in Dallas alone.
Yeah, it's true. Mark says, trick questions, Porky. Very bad questions on Texas. Total gerrymandering going on with MG and the Quizmasters. He's got it sorted. He's got it sorted.
Becky agrees with me. Only 268,597 square miles. Texas is only a quarter of the size of Surrey. Hashtag Porky Logic.
Texas is what? No, it's not. No, Texas is twice the size of Germany.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Sorry, Germany.
Sorry. You're doing it again.
Yeah, no, it is. It's twice the size of Germany.
Yeah.
How about that? Isn't that amazing when you think how big America is? It's twice the size of Germany.
Well, America.
no,
It's a lot bigger than that.
Texas is twice the size.
Yeah, I know.
So one state out of 50 is
Yeah.
twice the size of a European country,
Yeah,
Germany.
well, you could drop the whole of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland into one of the Great Lakes. You know, and that's how big. That's how big they are.
You could drop it into 1/3 of Texas.
Yeah, well, you could, but there's no water there, so it wouldn't go through, would it? It would just smash into the ground.
I tell you what I did learn about the Texas Panhandle, which is very interesting.
That is interesting, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Well, that's not far from where Mexico is.
Yes, well, that's true, yeah.
You know? How about this from Leon?
You could have asked me, about Waco, because I saw the actual place burst into flames.
Well,
Why didn't you ask me about that?
Well, you probably got that wrong as well. Texas DIY, utter garbage, says Leon. Yet again, absolutely shocking. 2 days not long enough for 10 questions. Give Mike Parry 2 weeks revision for the next one.
I don't know. I kind of despair, I can't despair.
Yeah, well, what can I say? Now, just a quick word on one of the things that we're doing this week, and that is, of course, our support for Leo the Lion,
Indeed.
the little boy who needs to go over to America, funnily enough.
Yeah.
I think it's Oklahoma for this particular medical procedure that he needs to raise $150,000. I'm delighted to say, and this has come from Becky D, that is, on Twitter, who says that thanks to many of the people that have contributed to his GoFundMe page, and I've just retweeted that again.
Good.
He's already raised about £26,000 through a lot of the Two Mikes followers, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I've also just retweeted Michael Bisping, who's of course the big UFC fighter, and he's on side as well.
Yeah.
And he's issued a little video asking if people will go fund little Leo the Lion. He's had 3 cancer operations already. He's recovered from cancer already 3 times, but he's got it again, and he needs a brain operation. So once we tweet that stuff out, please do what you can.
And please, we'd love to help as much as we can, and we rely on your support. Thank you.
And we will keep you updated with that, of course.
I'll tell you what else I found out, by the way, for the quiz.
Yeah.
Texas, the DIY store.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's no longer, right?
No, it was acquired by Sainsbury's in 1995.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Texas Hold'em.
Were you expecting some questions?
Yeah, I was, Texas Hold'em, the card game, right?
Yeah.
How many cards do you play with? 6.
Yeah.
See, I got that, okay.
Uh-huh.
The Texas group song that you gave me, their biggest hit in 1986 was I Don't Want a Lover.
What?
I don't want a lover. That was Texas.
I Just Need a Friend.
I Just Need a Friend,
but it wasn't really
right,
as big a hit as the one we played out at the beginning of the quiz.
Now, why didn't you ask me about Kennedy being assassinated?
By the way, the poker one is wrong, by the way. It's only 2 you get in Texas.
Yeah, but then you get 4 in the flop.
Yeah, but the point is you hold...
You get 2 dealt immediately.
No, but the point is you hold on to 2.
Yeah.
And then you get 3.
Yeah.
And then you get 2.
Yeah, but it's all in the flop,
So you don't hold on to 6.
It's all in the flop. I mean, for instance,
Flop.
Why didn't you ask me what was the date in which John F. Kennedy got assassinated? November the 22nd, 1963.
Well,
what was the name of
the... put the quiz together.
What was the name of the building from which the assassin shot him? Dealey Plaza. Okay? I knew all these things.
All right. Who owned the book depository?
The local education authority.
Incorrect.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not right.
And it's made up of 268,000 square miles, right?
What, the book depository?
No, Texas.
You've already said
idiot.
that. Well, where have you got all this written down? By the way, where have you got all this written?
These are in my...
No, you're reading it now. Where is it?
Because they're in my research notes.
Where are you? Let me see those notes. And why were those in front of you while we were doing the quiz?
They weren't in front of me.
Well, why have you suddenly produced them?
I have produced them.
I'm going to have to look at those.
No.
Please pass them over.
No, I'm not
So
passing
you've
them
had
over.
those sitting in front of you?
No, I've not. They were in my...
Where have they come from?
They were in my file to the right here, where I always bring
You
them.
didn't move to the right to look at those?
I've been studying them throughout
They were
the show.
right in front of you.
Well, listen,
They were right in front of you.
I was
Look
open.
at you. I can tell when you're telling untruths because you start smiling.
I was open enough to put out my notes on Winston Churchill last week.
Well, why don't you put these out?
I will put them out. I will.
And why don't you tell us where they were during the quiz?
They were in my file to the right with the tomorrow morning's papers.
Can you tell me if the name of the governor is written on that sheet?
No, it's not.
Can I look at it, please?
No.
Can I please see it?
No.
No, can I see it?
No, you can't.
Why can't I look at it?
For instance...
Why can't I look at it and see if the name of the governor's on there?
Listen.
No, I want to see it.
I want to ask you this. Why did you not ask me how many presidents of the United States came from Texas?
Why, is that on your sheet as well?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Is the governor of Texas? I don't care.
Yeah.
What I want to know is why is the governor's name on that sheet, and why did you get it right?
It's not. You won't find it on that sheet.
Let me see.
You don't need to see it.
Why won't you show it to me?
I'm not showing it you.
You're not showing it to me.
No.
See, talk about me gerrymandering.
No.
I mean, the only cheating that's going on in this room.
You won't find it on there.
Okay, let me see. We shall have a look at this in some depth. Texas 1519, Spanish conquistadors arrive.
Yeah.
This is like second year homework.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport. We're nearly up. I'm going to look for this and I'm going to find it, and then you're going to be done in. Don't forget to follow the Two Mikes at the Two Mikes on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mikes TV.
a person wearing corduroy trousers is a half-baked, muesli-eating, placard-waving,
What?
bearded...
It's bearded.
World,
Well, I agree with that.
World owes me a living layabout.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
Isn't that amazing when you think how big America is? It's twice the